tried to make that 7-layer dip again, but I didn't want to make 6 pounds of food, so.
Yeah, for 4 people.
Yeah. Well, it's just me, Jasmine, and Preston, so that even seemed more useless.
I was going to say, Preston, he probably only eats like a quarter of a pound of stuff because he's a small boy.
Oh, my God. He doesn't even that.
No?
It's like 3 bites. He's like, I'm full.
Does he eat like a bird? Is he kind of a picky eater?
Oh, yeah. Kind of picky, but I made him pancakes today, and he had like 4 bites, and they're delicious, and he's just like, I'm full. I don't think he has any concept of how he's like feeling, you know, which I was different. I mean, that's how I got to be 200 pounds in 8th grade was because I didn't know what full meant. It was always finish. So with him, it's like, oh, cool. But like at the same token, like he wants a lot,
yeah,
and then he doesn't eat all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to try to prep and make like, all right, make less for me, and then hope that he doesn't eat all of it. It's just a whole thing. So, but yeah, at that age, it's really nice because you really don't know what time is, numbers are, death, you know.
Yeah, the higher concepts.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with food for right now.
Yeah,
that'll be the baseline. I wanna be better about the amount of food that I eat this year. I guess it's kind of like a resolution that I have. Is like, because growing up, when I was little, kind of like around Preston's age, I would eat very slowly. Not that I wouldn't like finish all my food, but I would just like eat very slowly, and then that would cause me to get full.
Yeah,
and then I wouldn't, finish the food. The older I got, the faster I ate. So then I'd get a plate of food and I'd just wolf it down. Yeah. Like just barely chewing, barely really tasting any of what I had. And I still kind of do that.
So you're trying now to find a happy medium?
I'm trying to consciously like eat slower and to know when I'm full.
Yes.
Because I'll get full, but then I go, well, I'm full, but I'm not uncomfortable yet, so I could keep eating. And then I keep eating, and then I get to the point where I'm so full that I'm uncomfortable.
That's very Midwest of you.
Yeah. Megan's always, I shouldn't say complaining, but anytime that we eat somewhere and I eat too much, I go, Megan, I ate too much. Megan. Like, on the way home, just from whatever restaurant we're eating at or whatever takeout we get.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nope. I don't. I eat till I'm uncomfortably full, and then I have to put on my shoes, and I can't reach the laces. So
yeah, when bending is uncomfortable, I think is when I know I've gone too far.
Yep.
Or just generally existing and being uncomfortable.
When
at
you're
the
just
same time.
sitting there, and you're like, man, I really can't get into any sort of shape right now to feel nice.
Yeah, I'm at the age now where I've started taking Tums because of how uncomfortable I get from food.
Oh yeah.
And it's
is it like a pre shot of Tums? Like you pop 2 of the tablets in, or is it always after?
It's always after.
Okay. I was about to say, you're in really bad shape when you have a pre-Tums curse.
I'm not there yet, thank the good Lord above.
Oh,
but
man. Yeah.
I dread the day that I do get there.
I'm getting close. Sometimes I'll have thoughts about what I'm going to eat, and then I'll just get heartburn.
When we were in New York, because when I'm on vacation, I have a hard time shitting. Because really? I'm in like an unfamiliar area. It's like a psychological thing.
Oh, of course.
And so 3 days had passed and I hadn't taken a shit, which is not normal for me. Wow. And we had eaten all this like New York food, like tried all these different restaurants.
Yep.
And the third night, I'm laying there in the middle of the night and I'm like, Megan, I don't feel good. And she's like, do you want Tums? I'm like, how many Tums can I take? Like, what's the maximum amount? And she says, you can take 4. And I go, give me all 4. And I just wolf them down and I go back to bed and I feel much better.
Nice.
And at that point, I knew I was like, I need to do something about this.
Yep. So. That was your, well, at least you did it at the end of the year.
Yeah, that was my literal wake-up call because I woke up from how uncomfortable I was.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think I have that issue. I don't really know, though. I haven't been out and about in a while. Public shitting is not something that I typically like, though, or enjoy.
That's normal of you, and congratulations.
Yeah. Well, if I have headphones, I'm all right. Because then it's like, there's this movie with Adam Carolla.
You're talking about like in a public restroom.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were talking about like on the street corner, or like just knelt down.
Oh,
in an
public
alleyway.
shitting. Yeah, I have a hard time going behind buildings.
Yeah. I have a hard time going on the subway.
Yeah, it's usually easier if I have a spotter, but if I'm by myself,
like at the gym.
Yeah, I'm a little too nervous.
Yeah. That's something I need to work on this year. I'm too nervous when shitting in public.
Keep your head on a swivel. It's like, well, I got to be just out far enough in front of the trash can where I can see anyone walking towards me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got to have a lookout.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I can intro then.
All right.
Would I nail a cell phone to the wall with a nail gun? Absolutely, if it went off in the middle of a take. I would do it in a calculated theatrical way. But when the story gets told later, it sounds like somebody who's constantly off at the deep end.
What? Okay.
Yeah. What director said this?
Fincher.
Nope.
Aronofsky.
Think of someone, and this relates to our episode, who is a perfectionist.
Cameron?
Yep.
He said that?
James Cameron. During the filming of the first Avatar, if a cell phone went off during a take, he would take that person's cell phone and he would nail it to the wall with a nail gun.
Oh, man.
Yep.
He sounds like a joy to work with.
I was looking up some James Cameron quotes, and what I've learned in that process of searching for one, of which I ultimately landed on that, is that he is a
psychotic man.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially in the early days when they were making, I think it was The Abyss. I guess like the working conditions during that movie made it really hard on the actors because he wanted like realism with the water and all this stuff. I mean, I haven't seen the movie.
I'm just gonna say this: like that's the biggest no shit comments that you hear or thought process that really just goes by the wayside. Anytime you watch someone working in water, like literally anytime as much as we needed to survive, no one likes being in that stuff for 4 months.
No.
So I'm not shocked.
We're not adapted to it.
Yeah.
Quite the way that James Cameron would like us to be. And I guess he's mellowed out over the years. Like he's gotten a little bit better about it.
Yeah, instead of like saying he's going to put someone in a guillotine, it's just taking their cell phone and nailing it to the wall.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of what the article that included this quote was sort of hinting at, was that like, oh, cell phone, it's not as bad as like being verbally abused on set, according to Ed Harris or whatever it was.
Oh, people sound so delightful when it's like they really mellow it out. They just take something that's $1,000 and destroy it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's but what's your life worth?
Yeah.
It's like not enough to work with this. Unfortunately, these people need money. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on whose cell phone it is too. Because if it's like Sam Worthington's cell phone, I mean, I'm sure he could afford a new one. Like,
yeah, well, I don't think it's Sam Worthington and his blue spandex has his cell phone on him.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I can't wait till the cell phones, like you can put a contact lens in, and then it just pops up that way, so you don't hear anything, but you can like read it. So people just drift off for no reason.
Oh, what if they include the script in like the lens that you put in your eye? And then it just goes down, and you don't even have to memorize the script. You can just, whoa.
I'd really want to see the shitty movies with people that have to are like trying to read it, looking up. As they're like head drifts.
Their like eyes are rolling in the back of their head.
Like they're reading it in the sky and like looking around it because they can't pinpoint it on a sheet of paper.
James Cameron's like, hey, David Harbour, are you in the shot with us? Are you here?
Yeah.
David's like, dude, I can't fucking concentrate. His head's just like cranked back trying to look at the script.
They got to put a piece of sausage on the boom mic to keep some of the people interested in like what they're looking at.
Yeah, they've got to like peripherally distract the actors while they're trying to read the script on the set while they're shooting.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking wacky.
That'd be awesome. I can't. Yeah, the technology gonna catch up. I mean, these people already. It's insane. Like they talk about Shakespeare and how much like you'd have to memorize. People memorize like pages for Shakespeare, and like now you got guys that can't even remember like 6 lines without having to do a new cut or a new take.
I think it was wasn't it Johnny Depp? I don't know if it was just rumors or if it was confirmed, but I guess he would have an earpiece during filming like the last few Pirates movies because he wasn't going to memorize the script. Yeah. I mean, which to be fair, I haven't seen those movies, but I've heard that they're not of the best quality. So
yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I
maybe I'll check them out one day.
I don't know how many there are now. 5?
I think there's 5. So I saw the first 3.
That's where I'm at.
Because the first 3 have like a continuous story.
Yes.
The first one is a standalone, and you could watch that movie and not watch the others and be okay.
100%.
But
that's a good movie.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are tied to each other in like a very sequel-ish way. And I don't know about 4 or 5.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Esque.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, James Cameron, he'll nail your cell phone to a wall if you take a call during one of his shoots.
I wonder if anyone has insurance on that. Do you think there's... it very well could be like the studios buying these people. Oh, no, not if you're an independent contractor.
They know that he's going to nail cell phones to a wall ahead of time, so they just set a fund aside for it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the Sprint or the T-Mobile person working, and they see the guy coming in for the 3rd time in 2 months, and they know the story, so they just start laughing.
Oh, James Cameron's in town filming again.
Yeah. Baba Yaga.
Yeah, he's a Baba Yaga of cell phones.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just,
dude. He and David Lynch would get along so well because David Lynch hates those fucking cell phones.
All those guys are psychotic, and they live in their own bubble.
Yeah,
own bubble. There's no
quite literally for James Cameron when he's deep sea diving, he's in his own bubble.
Fucking, I used to respect that guy too as a filmmaker.
Used to. I don't know. I still respect him to a degree. I respect how much money he makes.
Yeah. I'm in. Yeah. We'll talk about it when we talk about Avatar too, because I'm kind of curious
we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll discuss it. So right before you came over, I learned something that made me really sad. And I don't know if you would give a shit about this or not, but Netflix canceled 1899 after only giving them 1 season.
I've seen is that the ship?
Yeah.
I've seen that. I really wanted it. There was a AMC series that it kind of the same vein. AMC had this, I forgot what it was called, like the Reckoning or something like that, but it's this crew that was going to go, back in those times, they were searching, and they were going to go to the South Pole or whatever, and the ship gets stuck, and there's this
I think I remember seeing previews for that
hunts them, and it wasn't a bad series. It was kind of like, it was right. So AMC hit with Breaking Bad, and then they hit with The Walking Dead. It's like they were their shit didn't stink, so whatever they came out with, like, it was what must-watch TV.
Yeah.
And that was the next one. I think it came out in 2015, 16, somewhere in there. And it wasn't bad. It was a guy from Chernobyl. I think it was the captain of the ship, and there was things going on, but it ended up just being really sloppy writing. But 1899 on Netflix looked of the same vein, and I was very interested in it.
Yeah, having watched the whole season, I think it's fantastic. I think it's just as good as the first season of Dark, which is from the same creators. So you get a sense of like what you're getting into because of how they made Dark. It's essentially like you're unraveling a mystery throughout each episode that you watch, and it gets more and more intriguing as you watch it. And the way they ended it definitely leaves you wanting more. So I'm particularly upset about the fact that they canceled this show.
What did they give a reason why?
It was
scheduling conflict.
It was literally posted about an hour ago from the creator of the show on Instagram. So there's no like finer details, but he posted this image that says, "With a heavy heart, we have to tell you that 1899 will not be renewed. We would have loved to finish this incredible journey with a second and third season as we did with Dark. But sometimes things don't turn out the way you planned. That's life. We know this will disappoint millions of fans out there, but we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts that you are a part of this wonderful journey. We love you. Never forget. Bo and Jante."
All right. So reading that too, is that a shot at Netflix?
I mean,
that kind of feels
they can't
like,
be happy with them, right?
Hey, there are a lot of people who are invested in this, and you guys are effing this up.
Yeah.
Do you think is that kind of, because that kind of comes out as that?
Yeah. Well, like, it's weird to me too, because like it was trending for a while when it was out. I mean, it wasn't doing bad. At least there's no exact numbers because Netflix never fucking releases anything about that information. But
yeah,
like, I don't know. It seemed to be doing okay. And I mean, Dark had 2 and 3 seasons, so people already were going into it knowing the creators and knowing what kind of content they were bringing forward. So I don't know. It's not surprising to me, but at the same time, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because I was very much looking forward to more of what I got. Like, the whole style of the show, the characters are really good. The fucking cinematography is excellent like it was in Dark. Like, I don't know. It bums me out. And then they keep making fucking stupid ass reality shows or whatever they have for Netflix or whatever.
They're starting to brand themselves into a corner. Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate though.
Yeah. It's a good comparison though when you bring up like AMC TV shows, especially in that like after era of Walking Dead, because AMC was really putting stock into like scripted television and trying to see what sticks. Like they had The Badlands, they had Halt and Catch Fire, they had Low Winter Sun, which they were trying to push hard when Breaking Bad was finished.
I watched that too.
How was that? I think I only saw like a quarter of an episode before I was disinterested.
It's a little too grainy noir.
It seemed pretty melancholic.
It is. That's exactly the word I was about to say. It's bleak.
Yeah.
And Mark Strong's the detective in it, and then they have one of the guys from The Walking Dead that plays. It's either a side detective or a story.
Yeah, it was the black guy from like the first episode. I think.
And I can't remember exactly, but Mark Strong,
Lenny James,
like wakes up and drinks like a fifth of like he just pulls like a couple pulls out of a fifth, and it's like on to my job. And I think dude, it came out so long ago. I watched it because like I said, AMC couldn't do any wrong. So anything that they had coming out, I was like, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get Breaking Bad. Even The Walking Dead's pretty good. I mean, I didn't finish that, but I got 5 or 6 seasons into it.
Oh yeah, I got into, I think I got as far as like the middle of season 6.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you get there with Negan?
Yeah, so Negan came at the beginning of season 6, and then he was there for a good while. I think he's still in the show. I think he's still a character, but I think his character's so changed now. Like he's a part of the group that he was attacking in the first 6 episodes or whatever of season 6 or however. I
really liked his, and I don't want to go into Negan, but there's this thing that I realized with scripted I like how you said scripted television, but with the characters, sometimes they get pigeonholed into during like doing certain things.
Yeah.
And his character for the first 3 episodes was like really creepy to me. And then it just turned into like him just doing the same thing over and over again with his like idiosyncrasies and his characteristics. And I just started to hate him. Like I wanted him dead because I couldn't stand the way he acted.
Yeah. I think that's what people like about his character though too, is that he is quirky and funny, and he swears a lot, and he's very jovial in an environment that is inherently bleak and hopeless. Like it's a contrasting character that I think people like because of the way the character's written, and I think people just like Jeffrey Dean Morgan too.
He wasn't. I'm not saying it literally was his characteristics. Like I'm trying to think of how his mannerisms, the way he talks. That would be like this, and then you know what I'm saying? We'll go like this.
Ain't that the kind of thing that just tickles my balls?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he says that.
And I was like, yeah, but then he does like he does a side smirk and like a lean back. I don't know, dude. I get very picky sometimes.
Yeah,
and I couldn't stand that he did it every time. And I was like, all right, like I get it, but like let's get some sort of other thing going, unless you literally
let's get some nuance in here.
Well, yeah, like why don't you're getting attacked, and you're trying to say like he keeps playing at the same card, and it's like there was no other emotion, which I guess maybe that was part of the character, but I couldn't stand it. So maybe
I'll continue that show after not watching it for years.
Yeah, well, dude, the one that killed me was when they Mindhunter went away. Mindhunter seasons 1 and 2. Yeah, so good. I think it was Fincher.
Yeah, I think it was Fincher,
and then it was like, and that was before. I mean, Instagram was like the big releasing everything, so they could have more info. I don't think they're doing it again. That one hurt. Yeah,
this one hurts pretty bad. This is probably the most hurt I've felt from a TV show being canceled. Because normally, like, I'm not even that much into TV, really. But this one just hit all the right chords for me. Like, I really liked it.
You get into times where you're like, man, this is just really enjoyable. I can't stop watching this.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. It was good. So, pray that it moves to another streaming service. Maybe. Who knows?
Freebie.
That sometimes happens. So, Amazon Prime, if you're listening.
Yeah, shout out.
Do me a favor.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Yeah, bomb them. Let's do, what do they call that?
Review bomb?
Not... No, just tweet bombs or something like that.
Oh yeah,
everyone get a zombie.
I think that's called
hose.
harassment.
Oh yeah, everyone harass Amazon into getting them.
We're joking, in case you're wondering.
Amazon.
Oh,
they might be listening.
Yeah, that's why I said we're joking.
Yeah.
So, speaking of jokes, we saw Avatar. We saw Avatar: The Way of the Whopper.
Nice.
The Way of the Whopper.
Yeah.
As I like to call it.
Oh man, I can't wait to get into this one.
So I can grab this if you want to get Congo later.
I'd love to have Congo.
Let me take a swig of water.
Yep. No, just do it. We went and saw this Friday night of Snowmageddon, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, Mac texted me on the day that Michigan was in its worst winter storm in, I think, probably 2 decades. And
everything was shut down.
Everything was shut down except the cinema.
Shout out.
And shout out to Cinema Carousel. You're the real one for being open. Mac texted me and he said, "Hey, this is the only day I can watch Avatar if you want to see it together because I have to go pick up my kid." I'm like, "Okay." So I went and picked up my girlfriend who lives
in quotation marks, pick up your kid in Snowmageddon.
Yeah, so I went to pick up my girlfriend who lives like 20 minutes away from where I live normally, which took me about like a half hour, 40 minutes to get to her place just in this storm. And we get there like super bad visibility, super bad road conditions. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm doing a lot for James Cameron right now. I hope he knows this.
Yeah.
I hope he realizes this
Only
one day.
for you to read out a quote of his.
I know. Only for me to fucking show the world how much of a douchebag he can be.
Yeah.
So, we saw Avatar, The Way of Water, which I always want to say The Way of the Water, but that's not what the title is. It's a sequel to Avatar that came out in 2009. Also directed by James Cameron. Screenplay by James Cameron, Rick Jaffa, and Amanda Silver. Stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Kate Winslet, and a whole bunch of others. And pretty much picks up a decade-ish after the first movie. Jake Sully is now ingratiated within the tribes of the Avatar, and he has Zoe Saldana as his wife, and then they have a bunch of kids. But then something happens to where conflict arises from the ashes of a dead foe, and they have to basically relocate to another tribe on Pandora that they're the same species of Avatar, but they're in with the water. They're water people.
Yeah.
So
they're not the Na'vi. They're the
liquid Na'vi.
Yeah,
liquid Na'vi. And so
it sounds like a water brand.
I know. Liquid Na'vi.
Yeah.
Like Dasani.
Yeah.
Like the water you have right now.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Oh my God, we could be a Tarantino commercial.
Sponsorship?
Yeah.
100% recycled bottle.
Hey, drop that Dasani. Grab that liquid Na'vi.
Grab that liquid nut. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Without going into spoiler territory.
If you haven't seen it, obviously tune out.
Mm-hmm. So
check back in for Congo.
Yeah, let's talk about the budget and the box office.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, so
I gotta imagine this thing killed it.
This thing made $1 billion in 2 weeks, which I think made it like the 6th fastest film to cross $1 billion mark.
Endgame's got to be number 1, right?
I think the first Avatar is still high up there. Let's take a look at the list, because Wikipedia has that available.
Yeah, this thing was like, all my buddies on Facebook were like, check this out, check this out.
Yeah, so Endgame is number 2. The first Avatar's number 1 at $2.9 billion.
That, man? Endgame was so hyped, and yet they still couldn't.
Yeah, they still couldn't beat Avatar.
Yeah.
Well, Avatar, it's hard to beat anyway. Titanic, number 3. Star Wars The Force Awakens at number 4. Infinity War at number 5.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, so right now, Avatar The Way of Water is the 14th highest grossing film of all time.
Sweet.
Right behind Avengers Age of Ultron and right ahead of Black Panther. If that tells you anything about the movies that make a whole shit ton of money. Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, just to give you an idea of the money that goes into this movie. We're definitely going to get the next like what, 3 Avatar films?
I shouldn't say it like that, but
so
I wasn't. So going into this, I wasn't like I saw Avatar the first time, and it was fun seeing it. I fell asleep in the climax part of the film. I enjoyed it, but it was like one of those things where I don't know if I was like I could care less for a sequel, and then this came out, and I was on the fan. I mean, I didn't care to see it or not see it. So when you said we were gonna check it out, I was like, all right, whatever. We got to do it for the pod. And there's a lot of people that are pretty stern about not saying it, which I think is like that counterculture.
Yeah, like it's so popular, I'm not going to see it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to contribute to James Cameron getting money.
Yeah, the man getting money and doing all this shit because he nails people's phones to the wall. Fuck that guy.
Fuck James Cameron, man.
But I also wasn't like, oh, like this is like new technology. It's like, no, it's just fucking CGI, man.
Yeah.
Like no one, it's a fake, like everyone has this capability of doing it. It's about filming 9 hours of this shit and getting people on board. But when you tell them you're going to gross $1 billion and you're going to pay them $100 million to act, they'll probably just fucking do it.
So how many times did you see the first movie? Only once?
No, I mean, I've seen it probably like 3 or 4 times. So
okay. You've seen it more than me then.
The first time we saw it opening night, and I got a little too drunk. I remember like I was with my brother and some friends, and we went to the wrong movie theater. I think I gave them the wrong coordinates for it. I had to go to the bathroom, so I was like, I just went somewhere, and there was like at the movie theater, and there's people starting to walk out of the theater. So that was like, oh shit. And then we got into the theater, and there was like, we saw it with the 3D glasses, which I'm so happy this time we didn't. Like when you're like the 455 showing, I was like,
yeah,
God.
I'm not interested in seeing it in 3D at all. I saw the first one in 3D like once.
It was so dumb. There was hardly any 3D about it.
Yeah. Like the visual angle of it, I guess, is like the most appealing to it, but you can get that sense without the 3D.
Yeah, this one would have been kind of cool, I think. That, or like if you're a little stony baloney, watching this one.
On acid. That might make you scared. Might terrify you.
I think this appeals to a whole lot of a different demographic than I find myself in.
Furries?
We looked it up, and I'm still not sure if I found the right one.
You know what? That's okay. You don't need to look any further.
So I saw the first one, and I remember getting like the water droplets falling down on my face. I was like getting like, oh man, I'm a little too drunk for this. And then like I mellowed out, but then by the time that they were getting up into Pandora and Jake Sully's like we're taking on the sky people, I passed out. So I had to go see it again.
Yeah.
Like I woke up and like it was just him like standing over something and like talking, and I was like, oh shit, like what I missed. And my brother's just shaking his head like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, I'm sorry, man.
Sam's had enough of your shit.
He goes, well, it was just like one of those things. Like you made it 2.5 hours and you fell asleep during the climax. Like it all led up to that. There's really not a whole lot going on until that last battle, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like what it all like. Everyone was like on a side at that point, and I passed out. So I saw it again. I've seen it a couple times. It was pretty. I mean, it's visually stunning and it's fun. I think it's a very, very, very cheeseburger movie.
Yeah. Well, it's a very simple plot. There's not really much going into it that it doesn't really make you think a whole lot about it. The themes are pretty out, like in your face. Like I've heard people compare it to like it's Dances with Wolves, but with space people.
Pocahontas with space people.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's conquering new worlds. I mean, it could be, the Colin Farrell movie.
Like there's themes of like colonialism and, different cultures and like the sense of protecting nature versus industrialization. Like I
was about to say,
yeah,
there's a lot that goes into it, which I think was pretty cool about the first one. So then we get into the second one, and they were just like, hey, like let's just jerk that all over again.
Well, not only that, let's just jerk that all over again, but let's also try to ingratiate like 5 different storylines into one movie. And like just kind of alternate between each of them until we reach the climax, which is like this action-packed thing that's very similarly structured to the first one. So like, I don't know if you were noting how many stories there were, but to me, I was like, I don't know what like this movie can't just touch on like one specific thing because it's like a family unit and there's all these new characters now. You have to follow each of them in their own struggles. So like you've got the story of the brother who's like he doesn't feel like he's a part of the family, and he relates to this water whale creature thing, and then you've got the water whale creature who's like outcast from his tribe because he killed before. You've got Sigourney Weaver's alien kid who's played by Sigourney Weaver also, who's trying to figure out her place in the world, and she somehow relates to the water creatures better than her own family. And then you've got Jake Sully and Zoe Saldana struggling to ingratiate themselves in a new culture. You've got the Colonel guy who has a son, but the son doesn't really know that he's his dad, but the dad knows that he's his son, but he's not really his dad anymore.
Neither of them are really like familiar with it, because he does go like, I am your dad, but I'm not your dad. That's a different version of me. I am that guy, but I'm not that guy.
And then you've got that struggle, and then there's all this sort of shit that's happening on top of it. You've got the poachers storyline where they're trying to extract this material from the whale creatures.
What was the guy from the Flight of the Conchords?
Oh, fucking Jermaine Clement.
Just getting thrown in there, thrust in there, and then you find out, oh, this is what we're here for.
He was so distracting in this movie.
It makes 100 times as much as Unobtainium did.
Why did they give him an American accent?
I don't know.
Why? Because they had the other guy speaking in an Australian accent. Like, why did they have Jermaine Clement speak like he's just some honky?
I think James Cameron doesn't want to make this stuff. And, like, I'm watching this, and this had a very Matrix Reloaded or whatever the fuck that one was called.
Oh, Resurrection?
Yeah, appeal to me of, let's just really dumb fuck this thing out and just sell it. Like, I'm sorry. It was so distracting from the beginning, where two things happen right away. One, they're like, we can't find a new villain, and Stephen Lang did such a great job. Let's just bring him back.
Yeah.
And have him already prepared to do this thing with his like video saying, you died in battle and now you're here. And it's like, why did they just pick this one? Why did they have a feeling like out of any one time they could have, they just decided to pick this video? I hate that in fucking movies where they're like, let's just throw that back in here and say, all right, this is that. Then you get Jake Sully, who's speaking Na'vi, and then they're like, all right, hey, I know it so well, we can just do American stuff now. Like, let's just talk in English. So, like...
He's like, it sounds so familiar to me, it might as well be English. And then all the Na'vi just suddenly start speaking English.
Yeah, and like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm glad... Like, why don't we just do that without the whole, like, hey, audience, if you're too fucking stupid to realize this, like, they're speaking Na'vi, but they're not speaking Na'vi.
Yeah, just have them speak English from the get-go, and then just don't worry about trying to explain it. Just go right in.
I wouldn't... Would you have noticed that? Would you have been like, they're not doing it. They're not. I don't see subtitles.
Well, it's like, I don't think anybody would have really cared. Movies can suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
And you can...
Like we talked about, like with, the Death of Stalin or Valkyrie, when they have, like, these people, like Germans or Russians.
Yeah, that Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, they just speak, like, in English accents or American accents, like, in that dialect. Like, you don't have to explain it.
Yeah. Like, you can suspend your disbelief well enough to assume, okay, they're an alien race. We can hear them speaking English, but maybe to them it's like their language that they're speaking in.
If they would have spoke together, like if they would have just let off in English without all that, and then they went to the other tribe, which here's another fucking one. How come they speak the same language?
Yeah.
Great, they're avatars. Like, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this is like if we just went down to Mexico and we all just sat there and talked the same, like, two different cultures.
We tried to, like, ingratiate ourselves in the Mexican culture. We all of a sudden just start speaking fluent Spanish.
Yeah, I'm like, how did that happen? Like, I like how there's just no, like, oh, they're a part of the tribe. Like, no, they're not. Like, obviously, they've evolved into a whole different species.
Yeah.
Yet they all come from the same, like, place of learning. Like, what is this, fucking, Latin?
Yeah. It's weird, too, because Jake Sully in the first movie, if I remember right, when he becomes an avatar, he really doesn't have that much trouble, like, understanding the other Na'vi.
No, I think I don't even know. I meant to watch it, because there's a couple things that, like, he just literally pulled from the older one. He's like, I'm tired of writing this shit. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
Put it here.
I wish I remembered better, because I've only seen the first one once, and it was when it came out. So that was, like, 2009. I would have been, like, 14, I think.
Yeah.
So
they did it. I think he had to go through like learning sessions with the doctors so that he could like kind of infiltrate the system, if I remember right, because they would like do this stuff, and then he's like, all right, I want to go back in my avatar body, and they're like, no, you got to learn more.
Yeah. My issue with this movie, and I guess kind of giving the audience a peek into like what we thought about it, I wish, because they have all those storylines in it. They like pack it crammed full of like each character's like personal struggles and like the kind of thing that they have to go through in this movie.
Yeah.
If they would have at least tied it together, I think in a more organic way and like make it flow a little more, I think it might have been okay. But I don't know. Like the simplicity of the first movie in its plot, you know, it's not great by any means. Like it's not like a Charlie Kaufman movie, but I wouldn't say that it's like a bad story either. It's just simple. Like there's nothing really special about it. This movie, it's just trying so much to like do all these storylines at the same time, but none of them are like complex. None of them make you think about really much anything.
The spider kid could care less. I mean, that was like Tarzan, you know, except he finds his dad, and then they don't even explain how Stephen Lang had a kid. Like there's just so much. There's so many things that were unexplained, and yet they explained the dumb shit.
Yeah.
Like that's what I didn't like, was like, hey, we have all these other things that we don't want to tell you how that happens, but the things that you probably could figure out, you know, or just for whatever reason they had to bring Stephen Lang back, which I thought he did a good job in this, like with his avatar. It's all him, but like no one's remarkable. The only remarkable thing about this is the visual effects.
Yeah.
But like I know like the storylines, like I don't think they did way too much, and none of it really appealed to, I mean,
that's what I think. Yeah.
It might have appealed to some people that are like really like, oh man, like I really like this one-dimensional thing going on in this person's life, or I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with the family, with him treating his kids like military kids, like I don't know.
You're supposed to guard the perimeter. What are you doing? You're grounded.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm like, isn't that just like kind of like just a bad dad being a bad dad?
Well, then they try to make it up by having him say, "Sully, stick together."
Which by the time that hit the fifth one, all right, here's a great point with that one. This is why I started laughing. I think at the very end, like people were tearing up. They say it one more time. So they're all in the water. The ship went down. The kid dies, right? They're all circled together.
Yeah.
He says that, which one was cracking me up because that's like the most, to me, American thing you can do. I'm pretty sure in Vegas Vacation, he says that to his kids, Griswold, stick together, and then they all disperse.
That's fucking funny.
Right? Like in the most fucking like lampoonish way possible. That's what they decided that was their like sticking point. All right.
Yeah.
Not only that, the mom, Zoe Saldana, was just holding that kid at knife point and threatening to kill him and marked him up. And then they fall in the water and they're like, God, we're so happy we're all here. Sully, stick together.
Well, it's funny because like at the end of the movie when Spider gets back with the Avatar family or whatever, and like Jake Sully's giving him hugs and stuff, and he's like, I'm glad you're back, son. And then Zoe Saldana is just like off, like in the corner of the shot, not really looking their way. Like they just completely ignore the fact that, my wife who is in distress and in mourning almost killed like our adopted kid, basically.
So
to like make
together.
a power play. Yeah, Sully stick together.
I wrote down, I thought, I love that, like, because it's such like it was like a Starsky and Hutch moment where he's got the kid or the daughter with the knife, and then she grabs his kid, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's like I don't know. Austin Powers is what it reminded me of. Go ahead, kill the little shit. I could care less about him. And he's like, Dad, we just made a breakthrough. Like pushes him off.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm gonna kill you now. I was like, it'd be funny if Jake Sully grabbed the other daughter and had him, and he's like looking at his wife, like let him go, and then he's like let her go.
Yeah,
and then they're both looking at him like, oh shit, he'll do it. So they both let the kids go, and he's got his daughter.
He just grabs one of his own kids and just
like holding him at knife point. Yeah,
that would have been really fucking funny.
I was like, we weren't too far off from that happening.
That would have been so good. I would have laughed so
I was
hard.
like laughing, like she just grabs like Spider and was like, I'm gonna kill him now. And I was like thinking like, what the fuck does Stephen Lang care? And he's like, hold on now, wait a minute.
whoa.
Yeah, and I
Let's
was like,
not get drastic.
Yeah, I was like, you made enough of a connection. 58-year-old Stephen Lang, you didn't even tell us how this kid's yours.
Yeah,
and you didn't raise him at all. Like I don't like you have some sort of connection with him, but like
just like the biological sense of like, oh, he spurted out of me, so I guess I have to care about him.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I could see happening. I was dying laughing, and then it's like, hey, Sully, stick together. It's like, I love you, fake mom, for almost killing me, but and I'm really happy to be part of this family now.
Thanks for giving me another shot.
I'll replace your kid.
Yeah. I'll be the brother now that doesn't fit in. Dude. And it'll make sense because I'm not an Avatar.
He comes into this thing. It's like, and there's this spider kid that's really zany and wild.
Oh my god! The amount of exposition at the beginning, I was like, Jesus, how much of this is there gonna be?
Who's he talking to? By the way, like he's talking to us through what?
Like the general narration of it. Like, is this after all 5 movies have taken place and have passed by? Like,
oh my god, I was dying laughing. It was like, and then we got our kids, and it's crazy being a father now.
And then at the end, when he's like, we're water people now. We have to adapt. We have to survive. This is the way of water. Or like,
no, he goes, this is our land. We will protect it.
Yeah.
He literally,
bet you just moved here like a month ago.
Not only that, I'm like, I think that's how the first one ended. And we know the third one's coming out, and they're going to a different fucking place.
Yeah. I think I sent you a screenshot of
you did.
Like an article.
I meant to text you back yesterday. I was trying to find the quote, and then I meant to go on and watch, like, just fast forward to the ending of Avatar, and seeing like if he says it, because I'm pretty sure I was like, he just copy and pasted the ending of the first one to the second one.
Yeah,
like this wasn't even creative.
Is he gonna go through all the elements like in the Avatar show?
And, 100%.
And be like, oh, we're going to get all the elements together, and we're going to fight Stephen Lang at the end of the 5th movie.
I'm telling you, this is going to turn into a thing where people, like, I'm pretty sure, like, whatever, if you can get, like, a hypersensitivity with, like, your senses going, this movie would be it's a kick-ass movie. It's a visual buffet, right? I mean, the colors are beautiful. The
visuals are good.
Everywhere that you're at in the land, I don't think there was like one time where I was like, oh my god, this looks so janky. You know, whether you're fighting on the boat, they're going through the water, you got the creatures. You know, I mean, just it all blends really well. So like, I just don't understand how people are like, man, this movie is so great. Like, I just can't. I don't see it.
I think it's a lot of just people who. They're used to Marvel movies and like Jurassic World and like big franchise movies. So then Avatar comes back and it's a different sort of flavor of the same thing where it's very simple storytelling, characters that you can probably easily get yourself attached to if you just relate to them in some way. I think that's part of why they had all those storylines is they tried to hit like almost every single base that they could.
Dude, the demographic for this film is fucking wild.
Yeah, like they've got like the adopted son. They've got the whole Jake Sully, like pre-existing characters that you might have cared about from the first one. You've got like their kids who you might relate to. And then, you know, the fact that they're Na'vi Avatar alien looking people that are just new and something to look at, I think is also an appealing factor too.
Agreed.
So I think that's a big reason why. And I think a lot of people, and this is something that I've just kind of read online from like film communities and like different subreddits and stuff, but I think there's a slight sentiment of people want this movie to fail, so we have to see this movie and give it money so that we can prove those people wrong. Like, because
James Cameron's a genius.
Well, it's like in their mind they think if I see this movie and this movie makes money, I'm sticking it to like the film snobs who don't want this movie to succeed. And it's like, okay, maybe there's like some people who actually think that, and yeah, they might not want the movie to succeed that way, but I feel like that's like such a minority.
I couldn't tell you.
Like I as a film guy, I really couldn't care less if this movie does or doesn't make money.
Yeah. I don't think, I never, honestly, I don't think I ever, unless it's Moonfall, go into a movie thinking about
Roland Emmerich.
how I contributed to the success or not, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because you're paying for an experience, and it's one of those, it's a story now where we went through Snowmageddon and saw a movie, and, you know, you got buckets of popcorn and sat there and watched this and laughed in the theater and had people annoyed at me.
I was getting so annoyed. So, did you notice the girl on her phone?
No, you said so.
I almost said something.
Like I
was this close.
I didn't see it till the very end, and I thought she just pulled it out because it was at the end, and I was like, I'm in the same boat.
Well, the only reason I didn't is because they both got up and left at one point. Like they had their coats and hats on, and they left the theater, and I was like, oh, thank God, maybe they just left because
this blunt's wearing off. We got to go smoke another one.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, like she was on her phone, and it's not like she was getting a text message and just checking it real quick or getting a phone call and shutting it off. Like she was scrolling through fucking Facebook while the movie was going.
Yeah, that's the person that I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Jesus Christ.
Me and Jasmine went and saw that, and a guy brought his girlfriend to it, probably an A24 guy, with a girl that just doesn't care about movies, which that is not the best movie to bring that person to.
Yeah.
You know?
When I saw it and the girl stood up and she says, "You owe me after that one. That was such a fucking awful movie." I will never forget that. I will never forget that quote.
I had to say, like, the guy and his girl came, because I brought Jasmine to see it, and I was like, well, here we go. You know, she's such a trooper. She was like, she found, you know, what she could find in it. And
yeah.
But the person in front of me was like some chick dolled up with her boyfriend. And I don't, like, the guy kind of looked like a jock. So I was kind of like, man, it's interesting that it's like he closed his eyes and just picked like one like that and found, all right, we're seeing this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, we have to kill time.
Just picked a roulette online or something.
What movie can we possibly see? And I remember, like, she, like, the whole time, like, she got up at one point, walked out, came back, and I think they left 20 minutes before the film ended. Like, it was just really bad, and you could tell, like, that dude was in the doghouse.
Yeah. Same with the people I saw it with. But I guess I didn't see it with them. They were just sat in front of me.
Yeah.
I would never go with those people. But the only reason why I didn't say anything was because I thought they were leaving. But then they came back and she kept scrolling through her phone. And at that point, it was like 30 minutes left in the movie. I was like, okay, if I say something now, it's going to cause a disturbance. And then people are going to get mad at me. And then...
You know what you should have did?
What?
Nailed their phone to the fucking wall.
Oh, I should have pulled a James Cameron.
Yeah.
Doy.
And then you can label it on him when you do it.
Yeah.
It's a sugar defense.
If I dress up as James Cameron and do it.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can go to movies now is if I dress up as him.
That's a fun game that you guys can play when you go to a movie theater. If you turn off the lights and say James Cameron's name 5 times into the mirror in the bathroom, it'll nail your phone to a wall.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's a great urban legend to start.
Then you ask him for his autograph and then he disappears.
Yeah. And your wallet's missing with $50 gone.
Mm. So what did you think of... So I don't know if you had the same thought, but Sigourney Weaver in this movie was kind of distracting.
100%.
Like, they had her play a teenage girl when she's... How old is Sigourney Weaver?
Hey,
I'm going to look it up.
Let's just do this math real quick.
She's 73 years old.
First movie grosses, I don't know, $1.3 billion, right? She's probably on that train getting royalties.
Yeah.
Second movie comes out. What do you think Sigourney's going to do?
Find a way to be in it.
You killed me off in the first one. I want back in. Yeah. I don't know. Fucking figure it out. Like, that's the easiest, like... And then I read something on Facebook. Someone's like, Sigourney Weaver plays a 14-year-old teenager in here. She alone should be nominated for an Emmy just on this fact alone. And I was like, how hard is it? She's in the movie all of 15 minutes with her script, and she just plays a 14-year-old girl that...
Well, not only that, but like when she did talk, she still sounded like a 70-year-old woman. She did a very faint voice.
Yeah. Which kind of gave her, like, it made her seem like she was very wise at 14. But I'm like, oh, it's just because she can't do a 14-year-old voice.
Yeah. Like, literally, it just sounds like an old lady in the body of a 14-year-old girl.
Well, so when she's
very distracting.
Well, so they brought her back. They're like, and we created. So I don't know. This is why I got annoyed. There's 3 characters that really serve no purpose in this film that it hurt to see it. Like, right at the get-go, I'm like, this is where we're going. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have Spider.
Yeah.
Who for no reason, it's just like, hey, we found a kid that was left here. They abandoned their boy.
He's used as a device so they can include a human kid who wants to be part of the Avatar.
Right.
And then have him, like, be integral to the turning point later when Zoe Saldana is holding him at knife point.
Yes. Right. So,
that's the biggest reason they needed him.
But let's go. All right. So we got to get Stephen Lang back in because, yeah, we gross 1.3 and he's going to be pissed off if we find another person. So let's just write him back in. We'll give him his kid, the human kid. This will be a great storyline with what's going on. And we can actually have a little bit of that, adopted dad, real dad, dad's gone thing going on. Oh, and then Sigourney wants back in too. So let's also pull her genes out and have some Avatar fuck a cone.
Let's have her be pregnant after death, but then she still gives birth to an Avatar kid because she was an Avatar when she died.
Yeah. So what Anyways, I'm trying to think of what it's called, necrolepsy or narcolepsy. Yeah, there you
Necrophilia?
go. Necrophilia. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, who had sex with her? All these people are fucking and having kids, and I'm like, where do they come from?
Yeah, like after death, post-mortem, pregnancy, births, like what's happening here?
They compared her to the Virgin Mary, essentially. They're like, and then so it's like, oh, I guess she's gonna be Jesus or something.
She just happened to be pregnant,
and it
really does feel like they're setting that character up to be like the chosen one almost, because she like is able to ingratiate herself into the water tribe easily compared to like her siblings and like her parents.
Connect with
nature.
Way or what I can't think
the
of.
way of water.
No, the mother. So that you have the mother tree.
Oh, the mother tree.
Well, not only that, but I'm like, all right, does the mother tree still like transpose over into the water tree, or is it just the whole thing? And that's their one aspect of it is the tree, and now the water people have
their water tree, which is underwater.
That's what I was like. Remember they were connecting to seaweed or something, so I was like, all right, she's got that going on, but then they were trying to guess who the dad was, and they had a couple quips about that, and it's like, we're just gonna leave this ambiguous, and they hooked up. And it's like, in and of itself. So you had that, and then Stephen Lang comes back in, and I'm like, okay, great. Like now with 3 unnecessary characters that are going to do nothing for us.
Yeah.
Right? That chick didn't do anything, did she?
She,
she got, at the very end there, she connected.
She saved the mom, I think.
Yeah.
Because she had the whole like kind of butterfly underwater creatures that were lighting up, like the lightning bugs or whatever following her. And they were able to like guide her path. And they will give her oxygen too, because they do explain that if they connect to your thing, they give you oxygen. Yeah. So then she went and she saved the mother. So she served like that purpose. Well, let's go back into, if she does this one more time, she'll have a seizure. And it's like, yeah, great. Like, so they're setting that up for the next movie. They're setting up the Colonel to come back, like Stephen Lang's character, because he survives at the end because Spider saves him. And then Spider goes, I hate you. And then he flies into the water and swims away. Very like, hey, like, I'm not going to kill you, but don't fucking talk to me anymore. Yeah. Can't wait till they reconnect again, right? Uh-huh. That's going to happen. Yeah. Well, they're either going to reconnect or they're setting up Stephen Lang to, like, be the big bad of the entire franchise. Because they've got 3 more movies under the pipe. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to continue. But I just like the idea of like sparing someone's life that you've worked so hard to like get to, while also just killing all these people to get to them. Like the idea of that, and like, oh, we have to spare because that's not who we are. We're not about killing. And then like meanwhile, leading up to that, you're fucking arrowing people through the heads, slitting throats, throwing people overboard to get eaten by like the fucking whale. It's just crazy. Like just a bloodbath. Oh, it's 100% like you guys are going to forget everything you just saw once we go solely stick together. Yeah, it's like the action and the style of the movie contradicts what the narrative wants to be. It was so dumb. The writing in this is just atrocious. Oh, yeah, the writing's not good. It is so bad. It's predictable, too, because like as soon as like the 3 water kids took the brother out. Oh, you knew he was I knew they were going to fuck him over. Yeah. You knew that they were going to screw him over. Hard. How many times do these things die too in the water and then get resurrected just by going like just? It makes me. I was just sitting there watching. I was like, I know I shouldn't get into like the anatomy of all of this and like how close they are to us, but like. I've now seen 4 times these things pass out underwater and just all of a sudden are on surface breathing again. Like, does that work with humans too? Like, how long do we get if we drown versus coming back up? Like, isn't it kind of like it's done? I mean, if you watched Black Adam, you would know the answer to that. I was avoiding that one. But yeah, so that. That happened, and then it was really funny because that happened, and then the brother gets shot with like, I don't know, the most like innocent, like, oh man, I got hit. Yeah. And then he dies after getting shot through the stomach or like which you knew he was gonna die because he was the last one to jump off, and then they showed them like firing at him. Well, what I'm saying is like I just watched 4 people drown and like have like fucking near death experiences. Deus Ex Machina happen where they get like revived, and then this guy gets clipped by a bullet through the shoulder, and he's like, "I love you, Dad."
was like, what are we doing? Like, why do we have to make, like, let's not kill all those guys and have them, like, very at the last end, like, resurge into the water. You know, like, just have it kind of like, oh, man, that was a close call. And then, like, that guy getting clipped, I'm like, damn. But after seeing, like, all those deaths, I'm like, I couldn't tell you if he's going to die or not. I don't know where this film's going.
Yeah. Well, they had to create suspense after suspense, and, like, they had to build up something and make waves, forgive the pun, until they got to the big climax with the human characters and Stephen Lang's character.
Oh, yeah. They did. So they stick together.
Which, yeah, the lines in the writing in this movie, like you said earlier, is not good. Like, what does fucking Jermaine Clement say later? Like, who's got the harpoon now, or whatever, when they're getting dragged on the boat.
We both looked at each other. That we watched 3 hours of this movie shaking our heads. Like, I think we could both feel each other, like, going, like, good God.
I think I just put my head down and just went...
Like, I think, like, he said that we both, like, kind of did, like, a half, like, yep, it got to that point. Mm-hmm. Like, they couldn't think of anything better than that, and it was like, here you go.
No. But, I mean, we've been ragging on this movie for quite a bit, so let's talk about some, like, things that we liked, perhaps. We touched on the visuals.
Yeah.
I liked the way they filmed the action at the climactic scene. I thought that was pretty good. I liked how, like, kind of brutal they got with it sometimes. Like, for a PG-13 movie, they showed people getting shot through the head with arrows. They showed fucking that one guy's arm getting severed when he gets slung off the fucking harpoon.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
That was actually, I think I laughed at that one too.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. Like, they showed that in a PG-13.
There was a couple, like, they did, I think, like, they saved it up because there's no blood involved. You know, it's kind of like, assume whatever you want.
And I think they can justify it too, because I think a lot of what they were showing with the violence was towards, like, the Avatar characters that were on the Colonel side, because then they can argue, oh, they're not actually humans getting killed, they're alien people.
Yeah.
So then they can kind of get away with it a little more.
Yep. I once they get to the climax, like, yeah, the last probably 30 minutes of the fighting was, I mean, it was seamless. It was roller coaster. There was a lot of decisions that were made that you'd agree with.
Yeah, I liked a lot of, like, the stylistic choices, like the Na'vi riding on those creatures with machine guns felt kind of like really primal, but ingratiated with sort of like the colonialization sentiment. Like, we have these guns that are from the humans, and we've, like, just kind of incorporated them into our culture. Like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool, just neat imagery.
Yeah. Well, no, 100%. Like, that is like when you're, like, 7 years old and you're, like, coming up with things in your head. You know, like, that's probably something that you'd craft.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool that they could get it on screen and make it believable. I mean,
like, if I was 13, I would have fucking loved this movie so much. Like, I thought it would have been, like, the coolest shit. Like, oh, he's riding on a dinosaur with a machine gun and he's shooting people. Like, that's fucking awesome. It's like kind of that action figure sort of sentiment where like, you can just take these toys and just mash them together and play with them however you want.
It's a very creative world that he's living in, that James Cameron can do whatever he wants because there's no standard or baseline for it. It's Pandora. So, I mean, he literally, with the name itself, is... you're opening up Pandora's box. You don't know what you're going to get. So there's really nothing set in stone for us to gauge and go, that is not similar to this, Yeah. Even like in futuristic elements, people still could probably find a way to be like, not believable. Like even if you're like 100 years from now, it's like, well, 100 years ago, we're still not fucking like that,
Yeah.
But with this, just because it's on some alien planet, like, you can do whatever you want. And I think he does a very good job of going with his artistic team, going like, you guys come up with it, get it on paper, let's see what it looks like, and if it's good, like,
he's got a good sense of the world and like the style. Because I love the fact that he incorporates. I keep saying the word ingratiate. I gotta stop. He incorporates a lot of like the industrialization from humanity trying to move onto the planet with the nature and sort of the alien aspect of the Na'vi, which I think is pretty cool looking.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it when they get the crab things and they're going down into the water and they're like, picking the whales, and they have this whole process for taking apart these things and discarding it, and they're making it very similar to what we did with the bison,
Yeah.
and just not having any real purpose besides the industrial purposes, commercialism, if you will.
Profit.
Exactly. Just, hey, we get money off this, and we don't care what we do with everything else. And it's that very don't give a shit about the waste as long as it makes money. So it's fun. I mean, it's if you didn't pack all that stuff in there, it might not be bad.
Yeah, it just feels a little bloated.
Well, and that's where I stand, and I really like what they do with it. You get the water culture in here, so you take this whole new element, pardon the pun, and put it, you bring the Sullys into this world, and they got to figure out how to adapt and live within this community, and they do a great job with the colors, and everything that you're seeing is just beautiful. I mean, it's so like realistic. It's like it's cartoony in a sense. It's like I was just saying, like Dune, like Dune was like fucking realistic. Like those worlds, you were looking at, and like that he had to go into New Zealand to film that and get some CGI rendition a little bit. This is all like, obviously
this is an entire new environment. Yeah,
but it is stunning.
Yeah, it's really good to look at.
Yeah.
Is there any more we wanted to say about Avatar, The Way of the Whopper?
No. I thought the last thing that I thought it was funny that they could talk to the whales. That's the last one.
Yep.
That was, I mean, just
their whales are like their family.
This whole shit was just fucking unreal with like what they just.
This is my whale sister.
Yeah, we're both pregnant.
We have that in common.
How about that?
How about that? So what would you rate this film?
I think a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Not too far from what I would give it. I'd give this one a 5 out of 10.
Nice.
Yep.
I'll say I think I was closer to set. So when we talk about the bad, I think I'm just really pissed off with how like this is a visual buffet and how good it looks. And like you said, riding on these like water dragons with a machine gun taking on a giant ass boat, and you can get a feel for the scale a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you just cram it with a bunch of nonsense, bunch of shit, bunch of things you don't care about, and drag it out.
Yeah, like the characters I really weren't attached to. Like the storyline's very basic. They cram so much basic storylines into it. Like it's
well, and not only people like you don't see that. No one gets enough screen time to make anything like. Stephen Lang will be the most I remember from this film. Yeah. I think that's just because he's like the badass colonel. Zoe Saldana, if you go back and watch this, I'm pretty sure every time she says a line, she's screaming.
Yeah.
I'm like 95% certain she doesn't have a conversation where it's a normal, how are you doing today, Jake? I love you. You're my husband. It is literally her in distress screaming about all the shit from we can't leave here to these people don't know us to
my son is dead.
Yeah, to so we stick together.
To I'm gonna kill Spider if you don't let go of my son.
Yeah, like she has probably 6 lines in like 6 minutes worth of lines, if that, and they're all like her screaming. So just small stuff like that is so distracting. So, but you got a 5 out of 10.
Yep.
Same things mentioned, just can't.
Yeah, just the story in general, I just wish was more nuanced, less basic, less predictable.
So you went like 0 out of 10 on the writing, right? But you're like 10 out of 10 on the visuals and like how stunning and creative it was. So that's where you get the 5 comes in.
Kind of meeting in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, like because that's what I kind of am too. I think the more I forgive movies like that a little bit more just because of what it's intended to do.
Right.
But this one was still pretty. So you saying great, like egregious. This one was really bad.
Well, I think if it had just felt more focused on one particular storyline and had like less characters but a little more depth for those characters, even if it was still a simple plot, I think I would have given it a little more credit than initially like what we ultimately got, which is like 5-6 storylines trying to
take out the brothers. You could take out the brothers and just have Spider and Stephen Lang and that like that story.
Give more
C.
Yeah, even if Sigourney Weaver is distracting as a 73-year-old voice. Like, give that character a little more.
Oh my God, she
presence.
deserves an Emmy for what she did. You need to see this movie alone for that. And I'm like,
she deserves a Grammy.
I'll be 70 and go do a 14-year-old fucking voice. Like, I live that life. This isn't like something that's completely new.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking water person. Like, this isn't even, she can do whatever she wants. It's something that's not even real.
I'm surprised they didn't like try to like alter the voice with like AI or some computer program just to make her sound younger.
Cameron's sitting back there with like fucking a wall full of cell phones, laughing about how much money this is going to gross. And they're like, hey, like Sigourney's going to be in this. Like, should we do anything? It's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? It's like, well, she was really pissed off. She wants more screen time. Like, great, give it to her.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make $1 billion tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll have enough to buy Twitter here in 20 years.
Yeah. I'm coming for you, Elon.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
All right, cool. Is that a forklift key from Sam's Club?
It is.
You still have it?
They never asked for it back, and I keep wanting to get it off of this. But then I'm also nervous that I have my idiosyncrasies with like my keys.
Oh, like just the familiarity of how it feels now.
Yeah,
with that being attached.
Well,
to
and
it.
like when I do it, I try to find like when I kind of rotate them, I try to find this piece, you know. And then I'll rotate it on my finger, or like when I pick it up, this is what I'm looking for. So I'm very nervous that if I took it off, I would just forget everything that I do with them and leave them somewhere sometime.
Yeah. Just creates an off-balance situation.
Yeah, which is really funny because they should have took this from me the day that I left, and they just didn't care.
Well, now you can go in, drive a forklift, and just pretend like nothing happened.
Oh, how about that? Walk in, grab a vest.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I might still have one, too. I don't know if it's in my car or what.
No, I don't. I never... Those things are like pennies, like, you know, practice jerseys.
Oh yeah,
like
you just find them anywhere.
Well, like take them home and wash, and like, you know, there's always the kids that didn't. I never did.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't sweat. It's not like this is skin to skin.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not like this is gonna chip off or become unusable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just sat in my locker, so I never brought that home with me. But it was also the same thing. Like you did it just so you could get there 2 minutes later than what you needed to, just to not see your locker.
Yeah. I never used the locker that they had there.
That's like that's what I'm saying. If you bring it home with you, you can just walk into.
I just kept all my shit in my car.
Yeah, the back door, and just here we go, we're in.
I kept the box cutter that
really?
they give you. Cool, because it has a holster. And the ones that at my new job, they have them, but they don't have holsters. So I'm like, well, I'll just keep this at my side. It's much easier to grab and use instead of like just digging in my pocket, bringing it out, or like leaving it somewhere, because I'm very prone to losing shit.
Yep.
Just ask my mom from like first grade to fifth grade how much shit that I've lost.
Dude, I'm looking at Preston's with some of his stuff. I was like, I can't wait till like just things are gone into the abyss. And now everything costs so much more. Now, granted, we'll get into it because it's actually a great, like, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I guess, exploring new lands.
Oh, yeah.
We watched Congo, Mac's film pick recommendation that he gave us to view.
Yeah. This is a film. I'm trying to think. I think this is like an HBO movie. I'd have to ask my brother.
I think it's Paramount because it was on Paramount Plus.
I mean, like when I was like 7. Yeah.
Gotcha.
For those of you that are not familiar, you used to have a subscription on your cable. It was only HBO.
Yeah.
Stars or Showtime got in there kind of in the 2000s when they started like trying to compete, but it was literally HBO so like you could pay an extra, $30 or 80, whatever it was. So I can't remember if my dad, because this is Michael Crichton, and he wrote Jurassic Park, Lost World, The Abyss, The Spear. Maybe it was, I don't know if he wrote The Abyss. Maybe it was just The Spear. He might have. Anyways. So my dad liked Jurassic Park, so I don't know if it was like that. Like, oh man, I don't know if I should give my dad too much credit, or if this was like me and Sam, like, oh, here's a movie on HBO, like, watch it, and we did.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. No, the reason why we said Avatar, and I was trying to think of like foreign lands, and I've seen this on Paramount, and every 7 years I feel like this gets brought up to where I need to watch this movie.
Yeah. And
so the last time I saw it was with some college buddies. We all decided to, party and watch it. Someone got it from Amazon when it would take 2 weeks to get to you. So we were all like on the lookout for the DVD coming in. It came in on a Sunday, so we got some beer, some pizza.
The Lord's Day.
Oh man, it was a fantastic day. But I remember watching it being like, not quite how 7-year-old Mac remembers it.
Right.
You know, like these guys were loving it, and I was like, way different.
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, did you guys watch this like 3 years ago? Because I saw this like 12 years ago, and this is not what I remember. So anyways, Congo, directed by Frank Marshall, released 1995, starring Laura Linney as Dr. Karen Ross, Tim Curry as Herker Homunca, Dylan Walsh, Dr. Peter Elliott, Ernie Hudson as Captain Monroe Kelly, and then a whole bunch of other guys that kind of just find their way in here.
I'm so stupid.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to lie, Mac. The entire time, I thought it was Christina Applegate.
Laura Linney?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I thought it was Christina Applegate the entire time. I think
this
wow.
And this isn't a shot, but I think this is like the best Laura Linney's looked.
I mean, fuck. I thought she was Christina. I thought she was a whole different actress.
Oh, yeah. You're sitting there like thinking like Matt got this wrong.
Well, like I thought that up until you started talking about this movie just now.
Oh, dude, this is it. Laura Linney is like so. This is the only reason why I threw on The Life of David Gale like 10 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Saw her. I hadn't seen her in forever, and I was like, oh, that's Laura Linney. Like that's the only reason why I know her is from this.
I keep getting her and Christina Applegate mixed up because I thought it was also Christina Applegate in The Truman Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got a thing going on. It happens.
I'm dyslexic, but with people's faces.
It happens.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. So this is about an expedition to the African Congo, right? The movie kind of starts out with a team. Movie starts out with Bruce Campbell and a team in the African Congo, and they start talking about I don't even think if they're talking about diamonds, they're just talking about this expedition. They're looking for something in particular. This guy comes and grabs Bruce Campbell. Hey, check this out. We saw this cool stuff. And then it's, and then Bruce Campbell sees something, and then it kind of smash cuts to, hey, we got this, telecommunication coming in. So they're back in Houston, and then they're talking about they get this radio conference. The whole place is destroyed. They got to figure out what's going on. And Dr. Karen Ross, very concerned that they're doing it for the wrong reasons of sending her back if she goes. Smash cut over to Amy the Ape, Dr. Peter Elliott working with Amy the Ape. They go into this really revolutionary sign language technology. With humans, and saying that from a rudimentary aspect in terms of language and communication, sign language enabled us to break barriers with those that couldn't hear and allowed us to communicate. And now we're actually getting it to a point where if they may be deaf, but they could still sign and hear themselves talk. Now I'm saying this out loud. Maybe they can't. Can you be deaf and like sign language is for you can't hear, right?
Yeah, sign language is a visual language.
Right, so how would they do the thing like they're taught? Maybe is it literally just for the apes and not for humans?
I think it's just for the apes because they added the voice component to Amy the Ape probably so that people who don't speak sign language can understand what she's saying.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about that. They showed a guy talking. He goes, "Oh my god, I just heard my voice for the first time."
That is true. I don't know.
Anyways. I don't know. Maybe people that got their tongues chopped off.
Yeah, probably.
Small demographic.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's why. Because he wasn't deaf. He just couldn't speak, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's why he was...
So I'm wondering if there's I don't know if it one and of the same. And we're not doctors, so...
yeah, forgive us.
Yeah. So anyways, Amy the Ape has these drawings that come up, and it appears that she wants to go back to the Virunga jungle in the Congo, where she was from. And... they can't get funding for it. Tim Curry, Herkimer Homunca.
A lot of H's.
Oh my God.
Tim Curry. We can just say Tim Curry.
Yeah. Steps in and says, I will fund the expedition to get your ape back there, as he has something else in mind. And that's where we kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie was not good.
Oh, come on.
This movie was not good at all. I will say it's like slightly more enjoyable than Speed 2. which is not a high bar to make. That's like when you're doing hurdles in track and you have to jump over a rock.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's just like, I had the same thing with Speed 2. I watched it and I was like, I get done with it and I'm like, it's kind of campy, kind of corny. Like the characters are like here and there. I was like, whatever, it's so much nostalgia watching it. And then I go on to Wikipedia to read the ratings. I was like, whoa. I was like, definitely did not see that coming. And so the first one that you read it says 51%. And I go, oh, this thing got 51 on Rotten. I was like, I could kind of agree with that, No, it was 51% of people to review it.
Yeah.
And it's 22%.
Yeah.
I was
it's like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes,
I was like,
I think.
Oh, man, so far off.
I think I kind of knew what I was getting into when I looked at the cover and I saw this.
Oh, yeah. It's
so for those who can't see it for some reason,
or don't have access to technology,
but you're listening to this podcast somehow. The poster is this big monkey face with the word Congo on the side of it that's just huge, and the tagline is where you are the endangered species.
Oh, that's what it says?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man.
So this movie, yeah, it's just not good.
How dare
it's not
you?
good. There's so much about it that just is so bad.
Oh,
so
feeling
a little slidey.
No,
yeah.
You're good. You're good. I need an old priest and a young priest for this chair.
Yeah, need an exorcist.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing for me, I think, is just that I didn't like any of the characters.
You need to go in and bash it for as much as you can. You didn't like Monroe Kelly.
Which one was that? Was that
Ernie Hudson? He was the black leader.
I mean, he
was
fine, but his acting was not good.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he was way too campy and bad and corny.
Never go into the jungle.
I really didn't like.
He was so straight to the point, though. I don't know. Yeah,
he was more enjoyable than the main male character, the curly-haired dude.
Dylan Walsh, Dr. Peter Elliott.
I did not like his character at all. I thought he was an idiot the entire time. He was just a bumbling moron that's like, I don't want to be here anymore. It's like, bitch, you have no choice. Like, what are you talking about?
Don't you love it? Like, there's a couple times where I had to scratch my head or shake my head. Like, they get on the plane, they land. He's like, yeah, I realize when I'm caught in a jackpot, I just don't want to be here. And it's like, well, you're already in the jackpot, buddy.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like you're
the plane's
a doctor,
down. It's not like.
Well, he also, so like I would see that, but I'm like, oh, it's white privilege, and like I'm uncomfortable, so I'm gonna step away from the situation. You guys can shoot at each other.
I get
Excuse me.
I get that they tried to make him like the fish out of water character who like is clearly out of his element and doesn't know what he's doing, and like we're kind of as an audience supposed to follow him because more likely than not we haven't experienced what he's experiencing. But at the same time, it makes his character like such a whiny little bitch the entire time.
He was better than his other buddy, I'll say that.
His other buddy was barely a character.
Oh my God.
He was a jobber, 100%. I was watching this movie, I was like, this guy is a jobber. I haven't thought of that term since Sam was on the podcast, and I thought of it when I was watching this movie.
You saw that his only thing was to be the basic bitch in the scene and go, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah,
well, I'm really tired of this.
His friend who like dies later, he's like, he doesn't acknowledge it at all. He's like, oh my God, anyway, let's move on to this next thing. Like, he doesn't take the time to grieve that his friend that he's literally worked with
into the thing dead.
Yeah, he ran in full speed, like he looks banged up, but he doesn't look like he's gonna die any minute.
He had his brain sticking out of his head.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I at 7 years old, there's a lot of this that sticks with you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, there was at the very end of this. I told Jasmine because we watched it together. I was like, "You tell me if this scene's kind of creepy." There's a couple good scenes that I think hold up. Like even in today, I mean, but. Boy, sometimes you just don't know. Then you start reading stuff.
Yeah,
and you're like, wow. So I'm not far off, but I've already been tainted to liking this thing. that I'm kind of stuck with it.
Oh man, how cool would it have been if they switched Dylan Walsh with Bruce Campbell? Like, how cool would that have been?
Did you read that? He auditioned for that role.
Really?
That's how he auditioned for it, and they gave him the role of Charles Travis. Yeah,
They should have done it the other way. They should have done it the way they intended.
So to set all this up, just so you guys at home listening know what happened, Crichton wrote this book in the early 80s. He had the idea to pitch it to go straight to movie, right? That they were gonna take it in and start creating this thing because he thought the technology was already there. Apparently, that you don't know about it, but like creating apes before CGI was like the hardest thing to do. Just with all the hair and like all of that stuff, right? So the studios passed on it. He wrote this as a book. This book is like supposed to be comparable to the King Solomon's Mines, which is like a fictitious thing. Like they kept referencing King Solomon.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this guy? Like, and I think Solomon was an actual person, the ruler of like Israel in the early.
He's a biblical figure.
So for anyone that don't get too harsh on me. So Crichton wrote this he really liked the jungle adventure, and it was kind of like something that you hadn't seen in movies for a while. So that's why he wrote the book, hoping that they could make it into a movie.
Okay.
So that's where all this comes up. He wrote this in 1979, so he was a little bit like ahead of the time with telecommunications and the way he wrote the apes in there, that they were the watchdogs of the King Solomon's Mines, but they were a breed between gorillas, chimps, and humans. So they had all these different capabilities and how smart they were. But obviously, studios passed. Frank Marshall gets a hold of this. Frank Marshall, all right, was attached to Spielberg with Jurassic Park. His wife was a producer.
I was just say, I looked up Frank Marshall. He's a producer on a ton of like big franchise movies. So
much shit, right? Did you see? Then did you go into his like directing chops?
Yeah, it's not much.
It's not much.
No,
it's bad.
It's bad.
The ones that did make it.
Like, I think this movie was like the third highest rated one on Letterboxd under his director's credits, which is not great.
No, I didn't realize that. I was like, man, he's got a lot of producers. And that's when you kind of realize, like, oh, these guys that, like, because producers, like, remember the dude from Star Wars? You get to see the director in action. There's a lot of, being behind the scenes and learning how things get done. But you don't have that eye. So I think his wife decided that they'd let him direct. And then Stan Winston was the costume design guy, or the creative designer, who was also on Jurassic Park with Spielberg. So they thought he'd be able to do a lot of interesting stuff. And as we go along, I'll be able to drop the tidbits that I've learned about why this shit show happened at the very
I read that Michael Crichton left because they wouldn't let him use real apes on the set.
That was like in the 80s. Like, he was like, that was his idea. Like, hey, nerds, stick to writing the books.
You won't let me use real monkeys, so I'm gone.
He wasn't even attached to this, supposedly. Like, they used him as like a writing credit, I think. But from everything that I read, he wasn't attached to this at all.
Had like nothing to do with it, really.
Like, fuck this. I'm not, you guys didn't want to do this in the 80s. Like, do it whenever the fuck you want. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So that's kind of how all this, I'd love to see if there's like a making of on YouTube.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Yeah. No, like just I think the biggest thing that has this movie going for it is like, I was a little more entertained than I was with Speed 2. It's a little more exciting, for lack of a better word. But I don't know. It just, to me, felt like they were trying to capitalize off the success of Jurassic Park, especially because this movie came out like 3 years after the first Jurassic Park movie. Yeah,
there's something they said that they like, one of the big things is eyes, like the human eyes. And they got this like technology in with Jurassic Park to give real, like the robotic eye, but then they figured out how to make like the corneal bulge, I guess, the difference between it being, so they were like talking about how they could actually take the apes and make them look realistic.
Yeah.
And they
they got somewhere with it. Because let me tell you, Mac, the cinematography is not great.
Isn't this like all like one take, like he's like up in a perch and it'll just like drop down and then it just sits there?
It looks almost like a YouTube video shot on a fucking camcorder.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the quality of this movie is. There's no real cinematic element to it.
No, you're literally like just on a tripod and having the characters talk. And then like if something's running, like they set it up like the guy, I think every running scene they set it up to the camera's away and you're running to the camera.
Yeah. This looks like a movie that was made in like the early 80s. It doesn't look like a movie that was made in like the mid 90s. Like almost at the turn of like the 20th century. Like The special effects were terrible, most notably when they're first getting attacked by the gray evil monkey creatures in the temple.
Yep.
And they've got guns, and the black guy and Laura Linney have guns, and they're shooting at the fucking monkeys.
Yep.
And the slow-mo frame rate drop thing that they use where it's blurry as shit and you can't fucking tell what's happening. When that was going on, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible.
How dare you?
This is awful. And there's just some plot shit that just rubbed me the wrong way. So
yeah.
The guy,
dude, this is why we're doing it.
So the guy who's the caretaker for Amy the ape, the
Dr. Peter Elliott. So he realizes, Amy is painting the jungle. She needs to go back to the jungle. We're gonna bring her back to the jungle. And so he's talking to this guy, and the guy's like, you'll never get the funding for this. Like, this is not part of your project. And then Tim Curry comes up and he's like, hello, I have the money. Or sorry. Oh, yes, I have the money for the project that you want to do, undergoing to the jungle. I will bring forth the funds for you. But then they get to the airport and they need fucking money for the fuel for the plane. And Tim Curry's like, oh, sorry, I don't have the money for it. It's like, what? You had enough money? His credit line had been cut off.
What the fuck? So until Laura Linney shows up and she's like, hey, I've got money. You need to let me join.
By the way, she's there right away, and there's no explanation about how she heard about this expedition.
No!
Unless it's just because she worked for the CIA and somehow caught one of the American people that were going and pegged. Yes.
So if she hadn't shown up, they just wouldn't have gone to the Congo.
The movie's done.
Movie's done.
Yeah.
Credits roll. Cool. That was a nice 20-minute TV segment that we just watched. Awesome.
Yep. She's there for no reason. So she's like, I really got to get on this expedition. I have the money. And then for no reason, I was really more annoyed with him being like, no, I don't, excuse me, I don't care who you are. You're not going with us. This is very personal and attached. You can take your hundreds of millions of dollars and go elsewhere because I don't know who you are and I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was being weirdly mean towards her.
Yeah, I'm like, it's another American that's like, hey, let's go to Africa together. And you're like, I don't, oh no, because Amy would get upset and jealous. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Which do they really explain that at all?
No, nothing's explained in this thing. This is all surface level material.
Explanations in this movie just don't happen.
No.
So then they get to the Congo, or they get to Africa, and they've got fucking Eddie what's his name in the Hawaiian shirt with the hat.
He was awesome, right? I can get you anywhere you need to be. If you need to go here, I'm the guy. I get you there. I stay here. I don't go there.
Oh my god, I was so prepared.
Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, I was so fucking prepared for him to just be around the entire movie as the comic relief character who's zany and says some wacky shit, but no, he just shows up for 2 scenes for 2 minutes each, if that.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm the guy that gets you there.
Yep. And he literally was. That's all he there's so much shit that just doesn't matter in this movie, his character, the scene where the full moon and the monkeys are all fucking each other, and they're like, what's happening? Oh, it's a full moon. It's a monkey orgy out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what?
200 miles. These monkeys are going to go nuts.
This scene doesn't matter to the story at all.
And then he starts barking at her.
Oh my god. And I was annoyed with Dr. Peter's character because he's running around with Amy the ape at camp, and Laura Linney's trying to communicate with the CEO of whatever telecommunications company.
Travacom, come on.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Forgive me.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I really want that shirt.
I didn't brush up on the lore of Congo, but she's trying to communicate with them, and then he I forget if Amy ran into it or if he ran into it.
Amy does.
Yeah, but he causes it because he's chasing her around, and so he knocks it over, breaks it. They only see the glimpse of the chimp, so they think that she got attacked.
It's a gorilla, Kyle.
I'm sorry. The gorilla. Sorry. When I'm ranting, terminology is not the forefront of what I'm...
You're so mad at the scene. So what happened? Come on. What happened?
So then they think, oh shit, she got attacked. We need to send another expedition team.
Yep.
And she's like, oh no, I have no way to communicate with them. But later in the movie, she sets up another thing and she's able to communicate with them again.
I think she got it from the cargo, the plane that went down. They got the balloon and they got the other stuff. I think.
Still, I was annoyed with his character.
I really wanted to get into the timeline of all this because I couldn't tell how fast this movie was moving and like how many days it was taking. Oh, how about the African crew that knew all the leaves are brown. What is that? I've been for a walk on a winter's day.
Oh yeah.
I've been safe and warm, be safe.
And I'm my way, California dreaming. Yeah, I got you in my name.
Don't you love how all of those guys knew the lyrics? Like that was the biggest song in Congo.
Yeah.
I was dying laughing. I was like,
the scene with the hippos, that didn't matter. They cross the water, they get attacked by hippos, and then that's that.
It was a 2.5-ton animatronic hippo that they had to render. There was like I think 6 people had to operate that thing.
It did not have to. It did not matter to the story.
No, it didn't. And then I love what you bring up because I kind of forget about the cinematography in some of these like really cheesy, campy movies. That there's just like there's a total of 4 shots. Mm-hmm. Like. That one was really hard for them to do. There's so many cut scenes, and then they had like the camera in one spot on the hippo, and they couldn't like do any sort of tracking shot or like panning shot. Like it was all just static shots of what was happening with all this action going on.
Yeah, there's no style to it at all. It's just there. It's just being filmed. Yeah, it might as well have been filmed from the shoreline by some kid with a camcorder. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
And then they get to the fucking the surface or whatever. They get to the shore and they set up camp, and Laura Linney has those like turret guns set up as a perimeter around them. Mm-hmm. And like someone says like, what are those for? And she's like, perimeter turrets. Anything gets within 40 feet of this, it'll be like the 4th of July. Like there's so many fucking bad lines in this movie.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Chock full.
Specifically from Laura Linney because she says later, because she's got the fucking laser gun with the diamond in it, and someone goes like, what are you doing? And she goes, putting them on the endangered species list.
I love that line
And then the very next line is, what the hell is that? And she goes, the latest in communication technology.
Yeah, because she's blowing them up.
Because she's fucking
stupid. Communicate with my fist, bitch.
So stupid. So fucking dumb. Oh my god. And then, yeah, I want to go through my notes just of stuff that I didn't mention.
Dude, you need to, because I sit down and I enjoyed this. This is like me eating like late nights, Jack in the Box.
I like the fact that the volcano, they mention that it's going to erupt within like a week, possibly a few days. They get there, the volcano erupts, kills all the apes. So her line about putting them on the endangered species list, like they would have all fucking died anyway because the volcano was erupting. Like,
hey, but I will say though, you gotta admit, like that last scene with all the jumping around and the props just getting like, dude, that was like Temple Run to a T.
Oh yeah, they looked like a video game, that's for sure.
Right? Like I was like, man, this is kind of impressive for how bad this movie's been. Like for like this, but I mean, I like that. I like the last 20 minutes of this film.
Oh my god,
I'm not gonna lie. Like I couldn't get enough.
Well, like the volcano erupting just feels like an extra added thing. Like,
oh, it's so dumb. The problem is they stuck. So I had to read them. I read the book. I read this book a long time ago. I thought there was more of like going on with commercialism and like nature and taking like things that you shouldn't. And there a lot more of this stood out to me, especially even in this one where it's business size versus like personal relationships and how like companies view us. And there's a lot of themes in here that I thought I was taking away that I don't really think even mattered.
No,
like I don't think that's at all what they were going for. It's just how they could mask it. Like he took a lot of like what the book was and put it into this film. But even after reading the notes on the book, I'm like, oh, like I don't even know if like Crichton was going after anything. Like he literally just said, I wanted this to be like a jungle adventure.
Yeah.
So Excuse me. Like a lot of the material though, they kept close to it in the movie of what they did from the book. But even in the book, the ending this ending was better than the book's ending, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In the book's ending, they
I'll have to go on Spark Notes.
Dude, like read up on it. Like I was reading it. Like I had to go through 4 different iterations of these summaries. I was like, this can't be how it ended. Because like the movie's ending is better than the book.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tim Curry's character.
I liked him.
He did nothing wrong to deserve what he got in the movie. They were setting him up as like a villain character.
It's so funny that you say that. So when I was young, I always viewed him as the bad guy. Yeah. Right?
Because that's how they set him up.
Even when I watched this with my buddies in college, it was kind of like a diluted bad guy, but still, like, obviously the intentions are there.
Right.
And then after watching it this time, I was like, man, that's like fucked up.
I
like,
know.
He was going to share the wealth. He wasn't like in it for himself. I always thought
he didn't screw anybody over.
I was always thinking that he was tricking people. And then he just goes, hey, the gig's up. Like, I want to find the lost city of Zinj, you know? And like he's forthcoming with them, and it is where they're leading him to. Like Amy is taking him there because they end up following Amy anyway.
Yeah, like they were all going to the same place anyway.
Yeah,
like there was nothing. There was nothing that he did that was like malicious, really.
The bloodthirsty entrepreneur that's looking for the diamonds.
That's how they tried to portray him, but they fucking didn't do that right because they show him in the first scene that he's in the movie.
He's very likable. Like in this whole thing, I was kind of like not relating, but like sympathizing.
He's more just like a bumbling idiot a lot of times. Like when he's talking to other people and just communicating with them. But that's like the worst thing that he is in this movie. But he's just an idiot.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he still nailed. Like, I loved him in this thing. Like, I think it's Tim Curry. This is the first movie I think of.
Yeah, it's so dumb how they try to set him up as like the villain kind of in the movie, and then he gets killed by the apes. I guess you're supposed to watch the movie and go, yeah, you take that for having greed and getting diamonds when they were all going to go to the same place and get the diamonds anyway.
He said that, like, well, I'm going to make you all rich.
Yeah.
Like they're in the fucking... So I always thought he was doing it out of selfish reasons and, like, never truly explained it. And after watching it this time, I was like, oh, he laid it all out. And then at one point he says, I'm going to make you all fucking rich. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, like he's gonna get them paid.
Yeah, like if he pulled out a gun and held it at Laura Linney's head and was like, take me to the temple,
yeah,
I could see him like deserving some kind of comeuppance, but like he didn't do anything of that sort. Like he was totally fine.
The closest thing that you get is when they're trying to find a way out before they find that area, and everyone's looking for a way out, and he's like, oh no, we're trapped, I can't, it's gotta be over this way.
Like the worst thing in this movie that he did was he spent a little too much time collecting the diamonds, I guess, according to the film's logic. And then the monkeys were like, oh, we don't like that. And then they fucking kill him.
The music with that bashing is the most, like, it. I can still hear it in my,
oh, yeah.
You know, and then, oh, like, dude, that is like, that trauma, like, not traumatized me as a kid, but like I can always, that's like you say Congo, it's the first thing I see is his eyes lighting up and that fist coming down.
Yeah.
And then you just see, yeah.
Yeah, and then like the character of the CEO who just wants the diamond, doesn't give a shit that his son's dead.
Speaking of everyone else just screaming.
Yeah.
Remember, like
I wrote down, did you get the diamond?
Yeah. Like for no reason, like all right, you're really, you're hungry for money and that's all you care about. Like,
oh my
get
God.
It on screen.
So cartoonish. So bad.
He took a golf club to a fucking TV.
Yeah, he was so upset at like the mission possibly like the first sign of something wrong happening, he just loses his shit and goes like fuck, and then he fucking smashes a TV screen.
Well, so in the book, which is, I wish they did this or at least had something set up where you would have saw it. In the book, Japan, the Netherlands, Sweden, Germany all know about this, and everyone is trying to find the lost city of Zinj. So there's like, in the book, he had a motivation to get them there, and why he didn't care, because I mean he might have lost his son, but he also knows that he just lost 2 weeks to everyone else that's gonna find this place.
Yeah.
So like it is like, all right, like it's really greedy and ugly, but like in this one it's just like, we need to find it. In 3 years, we're going to be obsolete. We need to get this thing. And I'm like, like you're like, who the fuck cares in 3 years? Like, get 6 months and get like 2 guys holding M40s.
Yeah.
You know?
Send a proper expedition, not like, just this fucking shambled together team.
If it's literally Dr. Karen Ross by herself. Yeah. And she's going to meet up with Eddie Monroe, and then he's going to bring her in there, which is, I'm guessing, what they did the first time.
Right.
You know? So like I wish they would have brought that component into it. All right, all these other countries are going here. We've got to beat them there. Because then there'd be a sense of...
There's a sense of urgency.
Yeah, like, oh, shit. Like, they need to go.
It would have created, like, an incentive to actually hurry to the place instead of having to place a volcano there and be like, it's going to erupt in 3 days. You better get there.
Not only that, but, like, even Peter Elliott and Karen Ross, the first time they meet, like, that whole conversation is like, oh shit, she needs to get on this plane, as opposed to like, I just pulled your name out of a hat and it's you. Yeah. Willy Wonka.
I'm desperate. I need to climb on this plane and get there like right away.
Yeah.
Because then if she showed that sense of urgency and was kind of annoying about it, I could understand like Dr. Peter's animosity towards her.
100%.
Would have made a little more sense.
Yeah, right? Like yes. Like it would have been like, hey, why don't you just go on the next one? And like you understand, like then you know both characters, like, all right, he doesn't want her on here because like he's got the grill and this could turn into a whole thing, but he doesn't know that she's got to beat Japan to go get this diamond, and they know that Japan's already a week. It'd be like what's that television show, the Great Race or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, The Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race. Like you're like, oh shit, like people watch that because it's like, oh, they're 2 days behind. Like that's a big deal, you know. But with this, it's like we're the only ones that know about it, and it's like we get and it might have been just a volcano that feels like ill placed because it's never really highlighted. I didn't even care that thing was going to erupt until the very end, and every time I watch that movie, I forget like, oh, I guess it's on a timer. And it just happen.
You don't think about it because it's so just placed in there. It's so shoehorned in. It's like, oh, by the way, there's this volcano that's going to erupt. We better hurry. And that's the only sense of like urgency that you get with it.
Who the fuck cares? It's a volcano. It's Mother Nature. Like that thing could have waited another 3 years.
Right. And just like the whole timing of it, it's like, okay, if you literally waited like a day later, then you couldn't get to what you were trying to get to. Is that essentially it? Like the only mission that would have been accomplished, which by the way is the only mission that ends up getting accomplished, is Amy the chimp gets released into the wild, and that's it. Because they're on the hot air balloon, and Laura Linney's like, I guess I don't need this anymore. Hucks the diamond off of it. It's like, why? Why did you do that? The whole purpose of your trip, sure, was kaput the moment that the guy went, did you get the diamond? And you like shot the satellite from outer space from like your laser gun that's powered by diamonds for some fucking reason. But then you could have just sold that diamond later, get some money out of it. You probably would have got like what, $500,000 from it at least, like something worth your time. And then just huck it into the forest. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, they don't. Well, they didn't really do a great job explaining why she's still. So he says something along the lines of like, you know, the coordinates and having that diamond in there, shooting that laser at that distance. You know what it'll do to the diamond? And it's like, oh, that thing's going to be destroyed, and then she still has it. Yeah. And I'm like...
If they had made it so that it destroys the diamond, it would have made more sense than to just like have her hold it. And
like
then
she still has it, and she's like, it's still good to use or something. I don't know. It was so bizarre. And then Peter Elliott just goes like, eh. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
So let me go through some more of my notes, because I definitely have...
No, keep going, dude, because I don't know what's redeeming about this film, except that I love it.
Oh, they did the fucking Jurassic World 3 ending where Amy's like, I have my family. Yeah. And he goes, your family? And then like the family of gorillas just comes out conveniently at that moment, and they're like, oh, you're gonna live with us now. Yeah. And then she like goes with them, but then she kind of like looks back at him one last time, and then like he turns around and he turns back and she's gone. Yep. It's like, bye, Amy. It's like that fucking Jurassic World 3 ass ending where Blue looks at him and goes like,
yeah. Well, it's actually 6, because Jurassic World 3, they're on a beach, and then Laura Dern brings in the Navy SEALs, and they get saved on the beaches of Isla Sorna.
Oh yeah.
So that's but yeah, definitely. Now I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
Oh, 100%. It's like turn around, like we know. But I will say, Amy was communicating with this guy, and they did have a relationship. So I definitely see a more sentimental attachment than with a like watching a bear go, I guess. And like the bear was living in the wild forever, and it's like, oh, it's just going back to living in the wild. Like he will never go back to the jungle. Where I'm like, Chris Pratt might see that thing again. Yeah, right.
They live in that cabin that's by the woods. Oh my god.
So there was a little bit of the ape that they use for this gorilla that they use for Amy,
The costume.
yeah, was a completely different type of ape or gorilla that you'd find in the Virunga jungle, and that got caught up with the mountain gorillas.
Oh, really?
So there's a lot of backlash on that because they're releasing something that isn't even from that region into the region that they're not affiliated with.
That's funny.
Because they went with it because she was cuter and more relatable.
PETA was like, this isn't right. This isn't accurate.
Can you imagine? Like, no, Amy, no.
The movie totally would have been fine with them at that point, but the fact that they released the gorilla in an environment they're not even native to. Like, oh, that's where they draw the line.
No, this was. I didn't even realize like I guess funny. The gorilla props were really bad. The Greys, they just called them the Greys. The Grey Gorillas.
Oh, were they bad now?
Yeah. So the guy Stan Winston blamed the director of photography for the lighting and the setting.
Okay, whatever, dude. Fuck you. Throw that guy under the bus, why don't you? He fucking piece of shit.
He was like so they had the red rock location or whatever he said because of the stark contrast between the costumes and the environment that they were in, they couldn't get the proper lighting and setting.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
He said went on to say that a lot of times the success that you have with these creatures is with the lighting because you can dictate how they look in the lighting. It's like, oh, so you mean you just take them and put them in something dark? You can't see everything visibly wrong with them?
I blame our shitty costumes on the fact that it looks shitty.
Yeah, it was like literally like the brightest red you could get with the brightest scene set up, and then they have all these guys sitting in these things. I thought the faces weren't that bad. I mean, the prosthetics weren't awful. It was just like noticeably visible that there was a person in there.
If it was like an 80s movie, I could have forgiven it a little more. Right. But the fact that it came out in 1995, it's a little... Like, dude, I don't know. It's a little unacceptable.
I can't wait till Preston's, 18, and I sit him down and throw on Jurassic Park, and then I'm like, this film came out 2 years later, Preston. We're gonna watch this one next.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what?
What do you mean this came out after?
Yeah, are you sure? Like this one didn't come out in 2000?
Yeah.
Or this one got up in the 80s. Like we just watched. Fucking The Thing. The Thing's props are better than this.
Oh my God, they are. They are. And that movie came out over a decade before that movie.
Dude, this thing, this is another one of those I wish I just had more information on what went into, obviously the dude's wife producing it was like, oh, we'll get such a rake on this.
Uh-huh.
And they honestly, though, keep going on your notes because this movie did have some commercial success.
I touched on, yeah, I saw that.
The more we talk about this, the more you're getting hating the movie.
You know how I said earlier I don't care if a movie is financially successful or not?
Yo, this is one that
I care a little bit. So I really didn't have too much that I haven't already touched on. I didn't touch on the shooting the rockets with the fucking flare guns.
No, hold
from
on.
The
now that one actually does make the most sense.
Does it?
Yeah. Well, they said the technology that they use, it would have been these types of rockets, and they use heat mapping to pick out
heat seeking.
Yeah. So the flares make sense.
So it's not like they were aiming the flares at the things. And trying to
I'm with
shoot
you
them.
because when I watched that, I was like, I don't know if that's just the best shot in the world out of a moving
I know. I was
airplane.
like, damn, Laura Linney needs to go to the Olympics for skeet shooting or something.
Right. I was like, but then I read it and I was like, oh, that makes sense because of what they use. Oh, how about all right. How about, did you catch on the product placement and this stuff?
Not really, I guess.
Because the very first scene with the gorillas is littered with Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah, I did notice the Taco Bell.
Coca-Cola was in this because Coca-Cola is in every movie ever made.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why Coke gets by it because they're literally in every fucking movie that gets made.
Yeah. Advertising.
And then Mercedes-Benz.
I did notice Mercedes-Benz.
So they had the Mercedes-Benz. They go the president's Mercedes-Benz of Congo. I was like, wow, that's just a blatant. Did you really need to go into the whole thing about?
They could have just said the president's car.
They did. Well, the first time they did say the president's car, and then they go the president's Mercedes-Benz. And I was like, they reference this twice, and then the second time they say that. Also, the army truck. Mercedes-Benz
Is a
logo on the
Mercedes-Benz
front.
army truck?
Yeah, like I looked at Jasmine. I was like, "Is that a Mercedes-Benz thing?" She goes, "I didn't see it." And then it comes back to it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, definitely a Mercedes-Benz." I was like, "Why?"
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I had that, and then the other thing that I didn't touch on was the scene where, so they didn't show a scene where Amy leaves the tent and like goes and finds like the other gorilla family for the first time.
Yes.
The Dr. Peter just comes out and he goes, "Amy's gone." It's like, how? You were with her the entire time. Like, what? I'm pretty sure you sleep in the same tent. You didn't at least hear her get up? Like,
nope.
Okay, cool. I guess she's just gone.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was like the majority of the notes that I had for this. I think I already touched on them.
No, you're right. There's probably 3 scenes in here. The hippopotamus scene that really didn't need in. The monkey scene, the leech scene. I don't even know if that added an element of.
I forgot about that.
That was supposed to be really funny.
Yeah.
That turned out into a big nothing burger.
Yep.
And then I was like, all right.
Absolutely nothing burger. That's a good way to describe this movie.
Oh wow! How dare you?
I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Yeah. I can't. You didn't even know this film existed.
I did not.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is the first fucking movie I watched this year for the first time. This is the first goddamn movie I've seen this year, Mac. This is number 1 on my list. This is the only thing that I have. I'm going to show you my notepad that I made. Look at that.
Boom.
Yeah. Congratulations, you made it.
What's even more tragic about this is
happy?
I watched Strange World before I watched this one, so I got Strange World in front of Congo.
At least you got something.
Yeah, which is that's a little tragic, I guess. I don't know, man. You get this for life now.
I do. It's forever marked on me like a tattoo.
I'm telling you, this is so much more enjoyable to talk about than Avatar 2.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say about Congo before we wrap up this discussion?
No, I think like what was the funniest scene in the whole thing?
Oh, I love the fucking bad slow-mo blurry shit that was happening when they were getting first attacked. Yeah, that was fucking funny. I laughed really hard at the flare scene, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you saw that?
That was really funny. And then, not that it was like particularly funny, but it was kind of stand out in how like cool they made it look, was Laura Linney lasering the gray chimps.
Yeah.
With the fucking diamond. I thought that was kind of neat. But, you know, a shining diamond in a sea of bullshit.
I didn't. There's 2 funny scenes with Tim Curry. The one. So, do you watch movies and do you ever pay attention to money being exchanged or anything where it's like they talk about money?
I know you do, because that was a big thing with Gemini Man.
Oh yeah, that It's a Wonderful Life. Like when they go like, you lost $5,000, and it's like you're like, man, who the fuck cares about that shit, you know? But then you got to be like, oh man, that was like 80 years ago. How much is that worth?
Oh yeah, sometimes I think about that.
So they did the money exchange, and they handed him 20 grand, and then they handed him another 30 to get up to 50 grand. I was like, damn, like 50 grand's like, I guess, a lot of money for like a Civil War bribe and trying to get out of a country with protection. Like, I don't know how much that guy needs. But then they did like in 2021, that would have been worth $91,000.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I guess that goes somewhere.
Like almost 100,000.
Yeah. So, but when Hector Homunca or Herkimer, I keep calling him Hector. Because they had to go with the two fucked up names. He's like eating the sesame cake, you know. He takes a bite, and then they put up another 30 G's. He's like,
yeah,
he's like,
gotta spit it out.
Shit. Yeah. No, and then he looks at him. He's like, why are you eating my sesame cake?
Yeah.
And then the other funny part is when they're in the fucking plane and everyone's jumping off. And he goes, push me,
push me,
push me, please. And then the guy, he goes, push me harder. Like, I am not doing this on my own accord.
Yeah, you need to fucking launch me from this.
So that was kind of amusing. There's nothing that you like
I mean,
those 3 things maybe that were about the.
I think the biggest thing that I liked was just how much more entertaining it was than Speed 2. Speed 2, halfway through, I was just shut off. I was so bored of it. And then this movie, I will say, it was better paced than that movie. I don't think I really had an issue with like how much it was like going in terms of pacing and like the time. I thought it was like a decent length. You know,
I mean, probably 145 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 140.
45.
It was like 149, I think.
Well, I think do they include credit
not
time?
Counting the credits, it's probably 145. So, yeah, around that area. Did you want to get into ratings?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So I think. Do you want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I can go first.
I know what you're gonna give it.
I think you saw it when I showed you.
No, I didn't, but I gotta imagine it's below a 5.
So I will say, and you might like this, I gave it double the score I gave Speed 2. This is at a 2 out of 10, baby.
You gave Speed 2 a 0?
I gave Speed 2 a 1.
Oh shit.
I don't give movies zeros, really.
I know there's a couple people that are gonna like that math.
Yeah.
My times erosion comment.
Times erosion. So yeah, this is a 2 out of 10. Not gonna watch this again unless you like force me to.
Ever.
Dude,
you could watch this with a group of people.
Maybe I'll watch scenes from it, but I don't know, man. This was a rough one.
It didn't go down really smooth, huh?
Just like I was just baffled at just how stupid it was.
It really is like
really dumb.
You watch this thing and you just like so that's why I like these films of me having watched these movies and like the nostalgia I have for them because it's such a unique perspective on my end to like not have a fresh view on it and to have it in such high regard, and then to have someone else that hasn't seen it, that has no idea, see how shitty it is, especially with how much you know about the world now. It fascinates me.
Yeah.
So I do this kind of on my own personal like
it's a little experiment.
I kind of like it, but I also think it makes for good content because a lot of other people are going to be maybe in your same boat or they could be in my same boat because I know Sam is probably in the same, like, boy, I know that's a bad film, but I love it. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's more fun than Speed 2, I will say, but man,
by a lot,
yeah. But
how many movies do you
bad.
have at a 1?
Not a whole lot. I really have to dislike it to.
I mean, it's kind of almost as impressive to have a 10 out of 10. If you think about it, like that's kind of
Speed 2. I know is the biggest one. I think.
Wow, that was a pun.
Yeah, right. Gemini Man, I had at a 1. Mr. Right, which we haven't talked about, but I watched with Megan. That was fucking bad. That was terrible. Polar was almost there. I gave that a 2 just because I like Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah. It's like this action movie with Mads Mikkelsen. It's on Netflix.
Of course.
He's got an eye patch. It's based off a comic book, I guess. But
oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's
very
got
cool.
an eye patch. It's based on a comic book. It's not very good.
I can't think of any more, but I know I've given. Gentlemen Broncos was at a 1. Oh. Yeah, that was
could
horrendous.
Be one that gets maybe not in the near future. Sometimes we have to treat it like kind of like a shit souffle.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't have too many souffles nor shit souffles. So
yeah, absolutely. So what would you rate this?
So I've really come to the conclusion that I think that when we talked about that like inverse hyperbole, like or hyperbola. I can't remember the inverted
inverse rating.
Yeah, like I've really found out that that's where I am at when I do these things. So this is a 9 out of 10 for me.
You know what? I'm happy that you love it. I'm really happy that you do.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm
glad that you like it more than Speed 2 because you gave Speed 2 an 8. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think that's maybe you're right. It could be an 8 or a 9. These ratings were done very organically and genuine. Like these things were done probably like 5-6 years ago. Like the ratings that I have.
Yeah.
So like I don't teeter on it because I'm like I have the same enjoyment because I think I view them in like the same different amounts of time. Like I will probably watch Congo again in 8 years and have the same like, God, this thing sucks. But I really just like because it reminds me of just, being young again and how much like, oh, this scene's coming up. I remember where I was at with that, and not understanding this. But yeah, so like when we did this, I hadn't seen Congo in like telling you like 8 years.
Yeah.
So and I saw it, I was like, oh, I know this isn't that great of a film, and I have a 9 out of 10. So I want to see like where we're at.
Well, yeah, where is this scale compared to the both of us?
Yeah, so I will say my scale is not very great just because.
Oh, stop it!
Yeah, it's a very personal scale.
Listen, Yeah, different scales. It's fine. That's how it is. Everyone's different. Everyone grades things differently
on their own scale. Don't judge me.
I'm not. Hey, this is like Planet Fitness, dude. It's a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, except if you're grunting.
Well, I won't even do that if you're grunting. So take comfort.
Yeah. No, it's it'll be. I'm kind of curious as to who hasn't seen it that went out and watched this on our recommendation.
I know.
Actually,
Megan's
it wasn't
going
recommended. I'll say that. But recommended to watch
for the audience. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of enjoyment,
Ooh.
I think it would be cool, and I talked to you about this before when we were texting, if we went over, since, we're in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Since we haven't said that yet. If we went over our top 10 lists of the best films of 2022. What do you think of that?
Yes.
Excellent. So we can get into that now. I made a list. Mac made a list. And also after this, I think we're going to go over our top 5 worst of 2022 with some honorable mentions perhaps. So that'll be fun. So I know I sent Mac a list of mine. Did you want to go first with yours?
Yes.
Epic.
Man. Sometimes you just look at those things and you're like, damn. All right, so my top 10. And there's one controversial one that I'll put it at 10.
Okay.
That has raised some voices.
Eyebrows.
Yeah, people, anytime you fucking put your name and stamp it, people gotta, bitch and moan.
They gotta scrutinize it.
Yeah, exactly. So, number 1, Nope.
Nice. Not surprised.
No, I love Nope. Actually, I got it for Christmas too, so I'm really happy about that.
Oh, nice. I got Django and I got There Will Be Blood on Blu-ray.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you to watch There Will Be Blood?
I think you might have.
Wasn't that like you'll really like that? Because I know we were at Sam's Club when you saw it the first time.
Yeah, I think you did. I think you when we were working together, you just told me to watch it.
Yeah, I was like, if you dig movies and you're trying to get into it, that's a really good one to check out. Because I think you like No Country for Old Men. Like you'd already seen that, hadn't you?
Yeah, I saw that when I was in freshman year of college or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So number 2, Top Gun Maverick.
Ooh.
Number 3, Speak No Evil.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
That is an underrated one that came out in January that I think would be like my number 10. Goes very unnoticed, but it is driving to a point. It's excellent, and it has a ending that you wouldn't suspect. And
I like the poster for it.
Oh, dude, it is. It's a very, very, very slow burn. But it is all driving to a point, and you can see it building up, but it's in such a mundane fashion.
Oh, it's a Danish movie.
Dude, I'm telling, when good friend of the pod, Jay Hall, recommended this, and I was like, so you say Speak No Evil, and you're kind of thinking that it's going to be like, I was thinking in my head like one of the, the devil's coming up and grabbing you, and you can't talk or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, really. And he's like, he was listening to another podcast. He's like, I think we should check it out. And I was like, I'm not looking up anything. I have it in my head where it is. So the whole time I'm watching it, I had no idea what was going on.
That's the best way to go about it.
Dude, and it was insane. And it got done with, and we talked about it for about another half hour, and then I couldn't get it off my mind for the next 3 days. So it's a really good one. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. And it definitely will give you the creeps. Number 4, Batman.
Nice.
Number 5, I'm going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that one.
That one's so good.
Dude, and I think that's one that I don't know if I'll be able to watch it again, but man, definitely get into conversations with people about it. Mm-hmm. Number 6, The Northman. Number 7, Barbarian. Number 8, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Good to see that made the list.
Number 9, and I think this is just could have started getting to a point. I don't think Marvel really hit this year for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I went with Black Phone.
Okay.
I'm not really too proud of that one, but in terms of if we're doing top 10.
Yeah. I mean, if you like it, you like it.
And then number 10, where it gets the controversy, Boiling Point.
Ooh, okay. Wasn't that a 2021 movie?
See, that's where it comes up, because I saw a couple lists that had it at 2022. Wikipedia has it November of 2021.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if it had a limited release in November, and then it had some success because it's an independent film that they put it like you release it, in certain markets.
Yeah.
Had some success, and then it had a theatrical release or a nationwide release in 2022.
Yeah, it's one of those like weird things where it's like at the edge of the new year, so it's like when does it actually come out?
Well, no, I mean they put in like Wikipedia. This is what got so we talked about this, and I said this in a group chat, and my brother went like, "No, it's 2021," blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "It's fucking 2020." I've seen 3 lists, and he's like, "IMDb has it wrong." So I went on to Wikipedia, and it says November 13th, 2021.
I wonder what Letterboxd has it as. I'm gonna look it up on there.
Yeah, check it out. Because I was like, why am I seeing this on 2022? So I'm like,
Letterboxd has it at 2021.
Go to Wikipedia. Tell me the date it says on 2021. Because I need to, if we're talking about it, because if it comes off, I only got 9.
Let me pull it up.
Because Wikipedia said 2021 as well, but it said November 5th or 13th.
So it says the 23rd of August 2021 for Karlovy Vary. What the fuck? Oh, it's a film festival. So yeah, it came out at a film festival of August 2021, but then came out in the UK January 7th, 2022.
Interesting.
So I'm assuming that's also when it became more widely available also.
Is there an American release or is this only...
year? Or last year, I guess. It's a British film. British drama film.
Well, I mean, but we could still release it statewide.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was probably so small that it just released in the UK.
What did I see? I saw it. Well, here we are talking about this. So that's I'll look this up. That's my top 10.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going with theatrical release in Britain, January 7th, 2022. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we could really consider going to a film festival being the coming out date.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm cool with it being on there. So it's a good movie. I didn't really put it on mine just because, I don't know. To me, it was a 2021 movie. But
why is that? Because you and Sam are saying the same thing.
I don't know. I just go by whatever date it says on Wikipedia or Letterboxd or whichever. Usually Letterboxd is what I go by. But
so this says November 23rd, 2021 for...
I mean, it would definitely be on my top 10 2021 list for sure if I had one.
So this got... How does no one know when this movie came out?
Let's contact Stephen Graham. Stephen, do you have the answer?
Is this a different one? No. Go ahead. Go on yours.
Okay.
I'm looking this up.
No, you're good. So my list... I have written down. I have at number 1, The Banshees of Inisherin.
I got to see that still.
That's a fantastic movie. Great setting, great atmosphere. The tone of it is just so good. It has such a good mix of comedy and drama, genuine character relationships.
I had another friend that said to check it out.
It's really good. Number 2, I have The Northman. Really love that movie. Just gets my testosterone going. Number 3, I have Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 4, I have All Quiet on the Western Front.
Ooh.
That movie is still stuck with me. Probably will for a long time. Number 5, I have The Whale.
Yeah, see, that's where...
The Whale just has it got such an emotional resonance with me. Number 6, I have Nope. Nope was really well done, really good. I think after our discussion about it, I bumped it up by a score after giving it some thought. Number 7, I have The Batman, my boy R. Pat.
Surprised that that's not higher.
I thought it was good. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But there were some things about it that I wasn't huge on, but I mean, the good obviously outweighs the bad, so it still made it. Number 8, I have Barbarian.
Yep.
Number 9, I have Glass Onion.
See, I got to see that. That's a secondary to Knives Out?
Yeah, that's the follow-up to Knives Out.
And it's a Netflix movie.
Yep.
Who Ryan Johnson direct that one?
Yep, he did that one also, and he also wrote it.
So I got to check that one out too.
Yeah, in my opinion, not as good as the first, but still pretty darn good. I still think it's a solid mystery movie with compelling characters and a story that I think works for the most part.
Okay.
So, And I really like Daniel Craig as the detective. I think he does like a fantastic job, that character.
Yeah.
Because he's so different from how he is in Bond. He's just like so cartoonishly Southern. It's like, well, I do declare.
So have you ever seen, what's that movie with Adam Driver and him?
Logan Lucky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
seen that?
Okay. Yeah, he's good in that one too. And then number 10, which I will say, it knocked out Top Gun Maverick for that spot. The Fabelmans. I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that a few days ago, and I liked it enough to where it made the list.
Can't believe you bumped out Maverick.
I know.
It sounds like such a bad Spielberg movie.
It really wasn't bad, and I mean, it's not doing well at the box office because I think the marketing just kind of dropped the ball on it. Like, you don't really hear about this movie much anywhere. But I mean, I don't know. It's really well done. I think it's perfectly paced. I think the acting's really good. It does a good job of like creating a story that kind of draws you in. Like, I wasn't bored watching it. Like, there wasn't a time where I thought it was dragging, really.
Right.
Like, I think partway through the movie, it kind of loses focus of like what it mainly wants to get its message across as. But that's like the biggest thing for me is like, as a criticism, is that like it kind of shifts focus a little bit in like the third act. I'm like, okay, this is kind of losing sight of what the movie was about initially, but then it kind of comes back to it in a way that doesn't really feel organic. But I don't know. I thought it was really well done overall. So
Have to bump out Top Gun.
Yeah, and enough to bump out Tom Cruise in Scientology.
They don't perpetuate anything like that in this movie.
Yeah,
I think we need to go back. I think we need to have another poll, and I don't care if 4 people vote on it. If a movie gets released at a film festival, is that the release date of the film?
Like the official release date?
Yeah. Or is it once it gets theatrically released?
That's a good question. I think we should pose it online.
I think we should, because I was reading, and I hate to go back and do this, but it's been chipping away at me because I don't want to have a film from 2021 on a 2022 list. That feels fraudulent.
I feel like a fraud.
I'm just saying.
I can't live with myself.
I need to get something else. It's a 2021 film. Like you might have Congo on your 2023 list for viewing. If we could pick out any year. But I'm saying, like, I just read over it says November, but nothing in like the body of like it indicates that it was a Karloff whatever film festival. It got released and made like $110,000 in UK over a couple weeks.
Yeah,
in early January. So
I agree with you. I think that if a movie has a wider release, like an ultimate release, like the next year, I think that should be the official release date. Because film festivals, like most of the people there are like journalists and film critics and people who are like part of the press and like the industry.
From my understanding with like these film festivals, it's a way to market your film to producers to have them buy it.
Yeah,
and then
like they win awards and...
Well, I mean, for distribution rights, so you can come out, you can release it, you can collect. I mean, you sign, you do whatever deal.
It's
you
more
do.
or less a big viewing party.
Well, I'm like there's been a couple at Sundance. Like you go to Sundance, it's sometimes people go there just to have it at Sundance and movie schnob. But then other people go there for actually like trying to gather like distribution because they can't do it themselves. You can't like to sell 1 million copies of a DVD. There's no way you could do it on your own.
A lot of it is just help the film out on a marketing level.
So you collect, so like Paramount goes in there, they'll sign the rights over to this film. They can say, well, you guys get 10% of whatever we sell this for, and then we can do distribution and marketing for it.
Yeah.
And if it's worthy enough, that's where some of the Sundance films get theatrically released, like this one did.
Yeah.
If it's enough well received. And then sometimes you take a chance on your own. But I'm just saying, like, everything I saw in there is why it says 2021. I can't find anything of why it says November 23rd, 2021 for USA release, because it doesn't sound like it got unless
we'll ask the people.
Yeah,
we'll go to the people.
Yes.
So
Oh,
now we get to
this.
Now we get to the juicy bits.
The real treasure. This is
treasure.
You're ushering me along to get to this stuff. You and your freaking just damning all these films.
So we got the top 5 worst movies of
2022.
Our own individual lists that we've made for this. And I showed Mac my top 10 before we recorded. I haven't shown him my top 5. I don't think. Did I show you my top 5 worst?
No, I don't. And I didn't show you any. So like all of this stuff is new for you.
Yeah. So since you went first for the top 10, I guess I'll go first for the top 5
Really
worst.
letting it out.
Yeah. So at number 1, I have Morbius.
Oh.
I know, right? The internet's darling made the list of worst movies. That movie was so... Like, it wasn't even worth watching for the meme. It was just so fucking boring and uneventful, and
it's on Disney Plus, right, or Netflix? It's like one of the
It was on Netflix.
I keep seeing it pop. Like Disney isn't even owning it.
No, because I think it's like one of those weird things where Sony owns it still because it's like the Spider-Man character.
No wonder. So that and Venom sucks so bad.
I know. So yeah, fucking Morbius was bad. Not even like funny bad, just bad.
Not even like laughing bad.
Yeah.
Not Congo bad.
Well, I gave it the same rating, but I mean, I will say I enjoy Congo much more.
Thank you. That's all I was looking for.
I guess on a technical level, Morbius works better, but man, fucking, I would take Congo any day. Number 2, I have Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh yeah.
Yep, not too much of a surprise there. Big fucking CGI fest. Number 3, I have Uncharted.
I haven't seen that one.
That was painful.
That's the one that
you don't need to see it.
Well,
just watch my review of it.
I know, but I'm like, maybe not. I don't know. There are movies that you're like, could go my whole life without seeing it. Think I'll be all right.
Yep.
That definitely feels like one of them.
The ones that I've mentioned are ones that meet that category for sure.
Yes.
Number 4, I have Moonfall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moonfall's pretty bad. It's like kind of stupid. Maybe you could like watch a scene on YouTube and laugh at how dumb it is. But other than that, I don't know if I'd go so far as to watch the entire thing again.
If Roland Emmerich isn't attached to it, straight to DVD.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how the hell.
Maybe if I had friends over and they all got drunk and were laughing at it with me, that's the only way I could see watching this
That
again.
would definitely be a fun movie to throw on at a party.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if that movie was a person, it would be the person, like those high school, movies where it's like, oh, it's Avatar. You drag it out into the deep end, and then you're like, good luck, buddy. And then you take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that with that movie. Is like, it feel like it's having a good time with you. And then when it gets to the end, it's like, hey, can we like go hang out somewhere? It's like, fuck off, dude. We just did that for our own pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. This is just for appearances.
Yeah.
And then number 5, which I debated with myself between this movie and Black Adam. But ultimately, this movie made the list. Blonde. Blonde made number 5.
Yeah.
Because I gave Black Adam a worse rating, but I think Blonde has more of an impact with just how fucking messy and shitty and just awful it is.
Yes.
Like, just from a fucking thematic standpoint, like it has no legs to stand on. Like the
Black
movie,
Adam does.
I mean, not saying that either. But Blonde, I think, is just more impactful in terms of like just how much it missed the mark. We all knew that Black Adam wasn't going to be great just by looking at the trailers and like The Rock being in it and like how generic it looked.
Being in it.
Like,
wow.
I mean,
Hey, Dwayne, if you're listening,
let's
man.
be honest. He's the Hollywood's basic man, other than Chris Pratt and Ryan Reynolds. But you look at Blonde in the marketing, you're like, oh, this looks interesting. This could go either way. I'm curious about this movie. And then you watch it, and it hits you like a fucking sack of bricks about just how much of a nothing burger that movie is in terms of substance. Like, yeah, I feel like it just on an impactful level, I just feel like it's worse.
Yes.
Technically, it's better. Technically, it's better.
It stained your memory more than Black Adam did in the wrong way.
Yeah, it
and
did.
That's why you're like, I will be. This one makes it because I think about it more and it pisses me off.
Exactly.
I shouldn't be. That's why my number one's the number one I have.
Oh my god, yeah. So I do have some honorable mentions.
Okay.
So Black Adam, I already talked about. Orphan First Kill. Honorable mention.
Oh my God, that did come out this year, didn't it?
Yep.
Oh, and we talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We talked about both of them because the new one was coming out.
I will say though, that one knew what it was doing. It was self-aware.
It was more self-aware, which is why I have it as an honorable mention.
It's just it is bad, but
it's bad, but it's like it's tongue-in-cheek bad. Yeah. It knows it's bad, but at the same time, it's still bad. And then the last one I had was Don't Worry, Darling. That one was just very predictable, like kind of generic, like nothing really exciting happening there. Like I didn't care about any of the characters. I thought the writing was bad.
It was because I guess I'll bring up more of it too because teaser might be on my list.
So let's go over McClain's list.
I'm gonna go from 5 to 1.
Ooh, keeping it suspenseful.
Yeah,
I like it.
Number 5, actually, probably just because we were talking about is Don't Worry, Darling.
Okay.
I like this would have been a little bit higher had I not gotten the female perspective on this.
Okay.
I think there was a couple more questions and thoughts behind Chris Evans' character than I originally kind of thought about.
Yeah, I like Florence Pugh also.
She wasn't. Yeah, I mean,
she's definitely wasn't a bad part of the movie.
No, that's and I agree with that 100%. She didn't do anything wrong. She just wasn't. I don't think that it was Olivia Munn and like everything that was going on with it.
Olivia Wilde
or Olivia. Yeah, who's Olivia?
Olivia Munn was from G4. She was the video game
G4
girl. G4, the TV network. They talked about video games. I don't know. Maybe it was a little after your time, but
after my time. What?
Sorry.
Am I old? A little after your time, Pops.
It's like the fucking Saving Private Ryan gif. The guy just turns old.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Now I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go.
I'm sorry.
Go ask Jeeves who Olivia Munn is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that one had a little bit more on there. But yeah, that was like a big, like the twist wasn't all that great.
No, it was just really stupid.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of like wasn't it more? It was like a comment on society and where we're at with like male dominating figures and relationships.
I think Olivia Wilde said it was based on like guys who are into Jordan Peterson or something. Like something like that. Like who listen to him.
Is he another G4 guy?
No. Oh. No, I don't think so.
Like an Andrew Tate guy?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
R.I.P.
He was. He gone.
He gone.
Yeah, that's what I was watching. I was like, she just got out of a bad relationship and decided to flex her chops. So number 4 for me would be, God, these are all so bad. Jurassic Park Dominion.
Oh yeah, Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, Jurassic World Dominion. Oh yeah, I forgot the worlds and the parks are all.
That's how you got to separate them.
Yeah, but even in Jurassic,
scrape them apart with a spatula.
It's so bad though. In Jurassic Park 2, they come to San Diego, which is kind of essentially what they do in all the Jurassic World ones. Is live in one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the last one they kind of go to Rome and all that stuff, don't they? They touched on a little kind of cool stuff that really just didn't matter because they were like, we're way too safe with this.
Yeah.
They had the black market trading.
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot about that. And then the whole thing with like, oh, dinosaurs. What's the greater implication of them being in society? Hey, let's talk about these bugs for the whole movie.
Yeah, we're gonna take the locusts. The dumbest fucking thing in the world. Yeah, how does this impact the economy, climate control,
how does
government,
ecosystems, habitats, already existing species that are like biologically organic? Nope, just who cares? Bugs, baby.
Yeah, how we're going to commercialize them. There's a lot. Our problem with commercialization in these films is like a very prominent theme that comes up, and yet what we do is we pay these people to make these movies that talk about why it's bad.
Yeah.
I love
multi-layered for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3 has to be The Gray Man.
Oh, yeah. You really didn't like that movie compared to me. That was one you were like passionately upset about.
I hate it. And actually, I'm actually gonna switch it because I put Troll on here. I watched the Troll movie on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I
didn't see that.
I was kind of like going through. I think the only movies I like didn't write on here were the Marvel ones that came out, or I don't think there was really any that I saw that were just like standalone. And it could be, but yeah, Troll was on here, and I didn't. So that's like my honorable mention bad movie. That I'm actually gonna switch to Gray Man with Blonde. So Blonde's number 3.
Okay.
Blonde was like for you all the wrong reasons, really bad, and that wasted my time actually. I'm not gonna say the Gray Man did. Yeah, no, it did. It really did. There's nothing redeemable about that film except maybe the camera shots on the
drone.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, but they did.
I think it was like 3 times.
They did.
Yeah.
The first one was cool, and then the next 2 like made no sense and made me sick. And then number 1. The fucking worst movie of all. The one that really makes me upset that I spent money on.
Oh, I know what this is.
I've never gone and seen a movie and thought about what I was spending money on. Even with Avatar 2, I just paid it. I said, whatever. The prices are what they are. We can't bitch and moan. If I don't want it, don't get it. Right?
Yep.
That was the first time I was like, I am going to treat myself. I haven't seen a movie in theaters in a while. Like, honestly, I hadn't gone in the movie theaters in a while. And was like, I'm just going to enjoy this for the sake of enjoyment.
Yeah.
Roland Emmerich. We're going to see some stuff.
My boy Patrick Wilson.
Yeah. Fucking top 5 guys that are dudes. And that's fucking heaping pile of shit. I couldn't tell you anything. I honestly...
He's talking about Moonfall, by the way.
Moonfall. Number 1. It's the number 1 that I like immediately like I did top 5 or top 10, honor, like I got to like straight trash. I wrote that one first. That's the first movie I think about in regards to 2022.
Yep.
About how bad it is.
Yep.
There's nothing I remember about that film except maybe like in the hotel and the Earth, the moon's crashing into the Earth. Then we find out the moon's an alien.
The moon is like a ship being piloted by like an AI force.
Dude, Roland Emmerich is so fucked up on drugs and alcohol. And I don't know who the slight veil that he's got above his face that people are like, it's still Roland Emmerich. That better be the last thing that he directs. But it still won't be enough because he's on some fucking cruise ship, fucking a bunch of women and drinking and doing
sure
blow.
He's gay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Having sex with a bunch of dudes on a cruise ship in the Bahamas. Like, we paid. How much did that movie gross?
Oh my God.
Can you look it up?
I'll look it up while you.
This is like, because it's never been written so bad. Dude, he just woke up every day and wrote another page in a script, and it didn't make any sense.
It bombed.
Good.
It bombed. So the budget was $138 to $146 million.
Thank Christ. I hope you tell me like 25.
It made $67.3 million at the box office.
Let's go.
That came out early too, like in the year. That came out
March or February?
It was like February 4th it came out in the US.
Yeah, dude. I remember that was one of the first times we were like, we're going to start seeing movies in theaters.
Yeah.
Because, it's part of the fucking pod that we do.
We got to do this. We got to do it for the pod.
Yeah.
It's like do it for the Vine, except it's just the 2 of us.
Oh my God, I was so mad. You're like, we're going to see Moonfall. I just shook my head. I was like, I don't know how bad this is going to be, but it can't live up to the expectation of bad I think it will be. And like, it took that, put it in a headlock, and just started knee fucking it in the face.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. It was bad.
Yeah, I hope that's visual for everyone, because that's how I feel when I talk about it.
Possible clip, maybe? To be determined.
Yeah. So anyways, there you go. There's my top 5. Oh, I guess the only other one that I'd say is if you had to say you got to watch a movie from 2022.
Ooh. That you have to watch, like from our best list.
Yeah, and you don't have to put in commercial because I'm assuming that everyone saw Nope, or I'm assuming people saw Batman, not. And you could honestly say
something that might have flown under the radar a little bit. Oh, that's a good one.
Mine's on my list because I'm still gonna promote this thing.
I think mine is too. I mean, honestly, I can't say enough good things about The Banshees of Inisherin.
So that's check it out.
I think that one is you got to see this movie.
Because I could definitely see that one. You talked about it, and then one of my buddies had it on his top 5 list, and I was like, oh shit, like
if you like compelling characters, really good dialogue, really good acting and performances, and like stunning cinematography and like environment, I suggest this movie 100%.
All right,
I think it nails it.
Do you have to watch it with subtitles on?
No,
it's not. Have you seen In Bruges?
No.
Okay, it's the same. It's Colin Farrell with
Brandon
Gleeson.
Okay,
yeah, Gleeson.
Yeah,
Don Wall's dad.
Yep. That's the same pairing for this movie.
Yeah, it's nice. You should check out In Bruges.
Okay.
Mine would be Speak No Evil. I think I definitely would say watch Speak No Evil, and you will be frustrated to no end. And it's such a spine-tingling frustration.
I'll put that one on my list as well.
Yeah, and because
it's already on my watch list.
Is it? Yeah, The Banshees of Inisherin is on HBO, so that's going to be something that will be viewed probably within the next week.
Martin McDonagh. Same director
for
Banshees of Inisherin as In Bruges.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense because that's the same pairing.
Okay.
Someone said something. Someone mentioned that they were both. He goes, "It's the same two guys from In Bruges," and I was like, "Oh man, like I like that movie. I have to rewatch that movie again because like, man, they are so fucking heavy on their their Scottish dialect.
Oh, their Irish accents.
Irish, yeah.
Banshees might be that way, but I didn't have too much of an issue with it. So
okay,
it wasn't too bad for me anyway. Well, cool. Good lists, I would say. Unfortunately, we're running a little bit long, so I don't think we'll be able to get to our questions that we got, but we only got 2 of them, so we'll just save them for our next episode.
Yeah. We'll try to collect some more.
Yeah.
Put on the next show.
We'll get some more questions going. But before we end, one more bit of business. I get to make a film pick recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you, are you feeling like you're up for a trilogy, or are you more so feeling just one film?
If we do a trilogy, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make me watch some fucking shit trilogy that I've not seen, though.
No, I'm not. Not this time.
Really?
Yes, I promise you. Not this time.
It could be a trilogy that I'm already watching?
Possibly.
Interesting. Fantasy trilogy?
Thinking more so on the side of realism. So, okay, let me ask you which you prefer. Do you prefer us talk about a trilogy this next episode, or do you want to just stick with one film in case like you don't have time for a whole trilogy?
I think I can sneak a trilogy in.
Okay.
I'm very curious. It depends on the trilogy. I'm going to shoot myself in the leg with this because it will be a trilogy that we will be watching, but I guess I'm flipping the coin and hoping I'm calling heads and it lands on heads. So that's where we'll go with the trilogy.
So this is a film trilogy, at least 2 of them, that are very...
It's a film trilogy. Well, 2 of them are...
Well, 2 of them
and
are...
the one makes a trilogy, but maybe not.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of like the sentiment. People talk about the first 2 in such high regards. They're considered some of the best films of all time. I want to talk about the Godfather trilogy.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Why is it when I bring up movies to recommend, your default reaction is like, oh, no.
I wasn't ready for the Godfather. And then like I was saying it was going to be like something along those lines. But then I'm also thinking that these are like, they're 2.5 hour like from the 1970s. Now, granted, 2 of them are really good. And it is a trilogy. So, I mean, the third, I haven't seen the third one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, it's going to be 9 hours of watching. That's all, like, when we do these things, like, on time, like, that's what I think about. Is, like,
Gotcha.
all right, like, where are we going to be at with the time? Now, granted, I don't know if you named all these trilogies, I wouldn't be able to, but I know these ones are on the longer side.
Gotcha.
But
would you be up for that?
I've already accepted it.
Okay.
It's already on. So,
all right.
And I'll be able to show other people The Godfather, and then we can talk about it.
Well, I figured because I haven't seen any of them, it'd be good for me to watch them, so then they're under my belt.
Yep.
And 2, I think it'd be cool if we talked about them, because then we talk about them, we get them under our belt for the podcast.
Yeah, just knock them out.
And
Just get them out. Just get them out.
Just get them out of here. So, yeah, that was my thinking. But cool.
Let's do it.
Glad you're up for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're listening and you don't want to be spoiled for The Godfather Part 2 and The Godfather Part 3.
We have to watch the third one.
Yes. Be sure to check those movies out before episode 37.
What channel are they on? HBO Max?
I can take a gander real quick, find out. The God.
In case anyone else wants to watch this, I know that I would be interested to know where they're at.
They're not on HBO. Let me check Netflix.
If you go to IMDb, you should be able to. I think they'd be all three together, don't you think?
I would think so. The Godfather. You can watch them on Peacock.
Oh God.
So
whatever.
I don't know. I'm sure you'll be able to find them somewhere.
Yeah, they're $12 to watch it.
Right.
Whatever.
It's still less than Moonfall.
Dead and gone. That thing is gonna be buried. It's gonna be in a time capsule, and the best thing that will ever happen is like when I'm on my deathbed. Mm-hmm. Do you remember John Hawkes in Congo when they woke him up and he was like, oh, so happy to be back, and then he saw the ape and he's like,
and then he just dies.
And then dies. That's gonna be me when I'm 60 and you show me Moonfall again. Yeah. I just gonna see all these like great
your body won't be able to handle it.
Like I'm just gonna see like all these like Nope coming in, and then the Godfather 2 and us, and then like right behind it, it's gonna be poking its head out. It's gonna say Moonfall, and you're just
guess what? I've dug this up from the Internet Archives.
Yeah, Mac, look at what we found for you.
It's like
that just does it.
It's like a scene in a movie where like you're surprising your grandfather. It's like, Grandpa, look what we got. He's like, oh, and then you bring out Moonfall in a basket. And he's like, and he just fucking dies.
Gone. That'll be me with Moon.
Yep. Just flatlining. Oh my God. So yeah, check those movies out before our next episode. Thank you guys for listening. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We also have a website, www.neoncrewpodcast.com. Be sure to find us on various social medias. We've got a YouTube community page, which I started using. So we've gotten one question from it at least. And nice. Our poll on which Shrek movie you guys think is best, Shrek 2 won. Congratulations, Shrek 2. Be sure to pat yourself on the back for that one, Mike Myers. You did it. I can't believe it, but you made it. You made the win.
Yeah.
Any any words on that, McClain?
On that, yeah. The audience speaks for everyone. We live in a democratic society, so Shrek 2 will always go down as better. I heard there's a lot of comments I heard on break that we should gather up a group and go to Shrek Fest.
Yes.
So that was out of the polling that I got was Shrek Fest.
Yeah, that's really my biggest takeaway was the two of us need to go.
Yeah.
So we'll figure something out. We'll organize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, McClain, any parting words?
Hey, from the new year comes a familiar voice with a familiar saying, WWTHD.
Bye, everyone.